Important update about YouTube playlists. Hey everyone. We've received many messages asking why our YouTube playlists aren't showing up. Do we create YouTube playlists? Yes, we absolutely do. So why can't you see them? Honestly, we're not sure. We've been in contact with YouTube support for several months now, but we still haven't received a clear answer or solution. After much discussion, our team has decided to take matters into our own hands. We believe the issue might be related to the number of playlists we've created on a single channel, possibly too many. Our solution? We're launching 2 additional YouTube channels, giving us a total of 3. This way, we can organize our audiobooks better and avoid the playlist visibility issue in the future. This change only affects our YouTube audience. If you're a patron supporter, you can still access all our audiobooks by visiting the collection menu on Patreon. Thanks so much for your time and continued support. Happy listening. They were very surprised. He's just a kid. Is it really him? Cracker couldn't believe it. Jigen's appearance was too unconvincing. Kaido said angrily from the side. Cookie boy, how dare you underestimate my subordinates in my territory? Believe it or not, I can kill you in front of your mother. Kaido was very dissatisfied with Cracker's assessment of Jigen, and the revealed killer character made Cracker shut up. Cracker was cowardly. He shut up and stopped talking. Big Mom and the others ignored what Kaido said. What mattered to them was that the kid in front of them was really the rumored scientific disaster. However, this is also very normal. The Senzu bin developed by him, and the magic door they just saw with their own eyes, such technological achievements will be highly valued in any of the world's powers. As long as there are talents like him, no matter which pirate group it is, their future is promising. Chapter 36, New Invention. After learning that Jigen is truly the scientific disaster, Big Mom showed her greed, but Kaido warned her, which Big Mom blatantly ignored. After a while, Jack arrived at the crowd with Jigen on his back and he got off. Seeing that all of the Big Mom pirates were there, and even the Queen of Tato Land herself, Jigen was pleasantly surprised. Seeing the magic door, Jigen's heart suddenly froze. Obviously, Kaido must have used the door to go to Whole Cake and then show off in front of Big Mom and her children. His captain was really idle. Jigen couldn't help but roll his eyes. After getting along for more than a month, it can be considered that Jigen understands Kaido's character. He's a restless captain, likes to show off, and likes to pretend, but this is not bad, because every time Kaido pretends to be blunt, it will even help Jigen. After a while of boasting, he doesn't even need to speak, so he's forced to pretend. Perhaps this is the highest level of simulation. When Jigen came to the front, Big Mom immediately stepped forward to warmly greet him, and she didn't have the posture of a 4 emperors at all. Jigen looked at this steel ball and pouted inside. He had no interest in seeing this old woman. But since she and his captain were old comrades in arms, he had to give face to this schizophrenic woman. After being polite for a while, Big Mom curiously asked, "Scientific disaster, what is your new research and development this time?" Big Mom shamelessly grasped Kaido's lines, which left the beast pirates speechless. After Jigen heard the words, just as he was about to speak, Kaido interrupted directly. "Jigen, your research and development is top secret and must not be leaked." Jigen smiled bitterly in his heart, running around every day to show off, so basically all the major forces now know about the Senzu Bean, and then, when the magic door was developed, he ran to Whitebeard and made a scene on his site. Now he ran to Whole Cake to find Big Mom. I'm afraid this new invention will soon be exhibited in the major forces' sites. Isn't it the same as saying it now? However, Kaido is still his captain anyway. So he had to give him face in front of the Big Mom pirates. When Big Mom saw that Jigen wanted to speak and that Kaido stopped him, she was so angry that she started lecturing Kaido again about his debt to her. Kaido was speechless. Seeing that she was still entangled, Kaido had no choice but to snort coldly. That's it. Sooner or later, they'll find out anyway, Jigen, just say it. Big Mom quickly stopped bothering Kaido. Jigen and the others were really stunned by the scene. Concentrating his thoughts, Jigen took out his kabuto, ready to show off this new invention. At this moment, the audience was completely silent, whether it was the Beast Pirates or the Big Mom Pirates. Everyone was waiting for Jigen to present his new invention this time. With everyone watching, Jigen smiled and took out a capsule-shaped thing. Immediately, he raised his eyebrows and the corners of his mouth lifted slightly. Guess what this is for? Everyone couldn't help but look at the capsule in his hand and sank into contemplation. Queen, the self-proclaimed #1 scientist, was the first to ask. This thing looks like a capsule. If so, it should have some similar functions to a capsule. Could it be said to contain poison? Wow! He didn't even get close, the bastard. The people around were speechless. As expected of Queen the Plague, the first thing that came to his mind was poison. In other words, You said that it should be similar to the effect of capsules. It could also be some kind of cure. However, thinking back to Jigen's first great invention, the Senzu bean, everyone thought that this new invention probably wasn't a cure, because the effect of the invention would be repeated this way. Jack directly said. When I first saw Brother Jigen's invention, I felt like it was a bomb. This comment from Jack caught everyone's attention. Jack came here with Jigen on his back earlier, so he saw this capsule when he was in the laboratory. Everyone was speechless again. The people around were very positive, with different opinions, and everyone had an open mind. In the crowd, King pondered and, after a while, said, Jigen-san, shouldn't this thing be able to hold things? As soon as King's words came out, everyone was speechless for a while. It must be said that the minds of the three disasters are too different, right? What's in this capsule? What do you think? Big Mom just laughed out loud. Mama. Following Kaido, a simple-minded bastard, it seems that his IQ has also been affected. Big Mom mocked unabashedly. Kaido's eyes twisted. What did this woman say? She ignored Kaido and continued. How can something like a capsule be so small? What can it contain? Others around, whether they were members of the Big Mom Pirates or the Beast Pirates themselves, also thought that this couldn't hold things. After all, this capsule was too small and couldn't hold much. At most, Senzu beans. However, Jigen, the user of the R&D system, this time, said with a smile. Brother King is right, the function of this is to store things. The entire audience was stunned, wondering if they had misheard. Was he really right? But what can something so small contain? Big Mom and her vassals looked at Jigen with strange eyes. They doubted if Kaido deliberately played with them this time. He led and acted in this farce. However, on the Beast Pirates' side, no one showed any suspicion after hearing it. After all, they have been trolled twice already. They all promised not to doubt Jigen's experiments anymore. Everyone, including Kaido, looked at Jigen with curiosity, waiting for his explanation. Jigen set aside the suspense and said directly. The name of this invention is Universal Capsule, and the space inside this capsule can accommodate up to 2 or 3 marine ships. Jigen mentioned marine ships as an example. After all, the warships made by the Marines were really big. With this, you can already imagine how strategic this is on a battlefield. As soon as these words came out, the audience was shocked and silent, and everyone took a deep breath. Chapter 37, Storage Artifact. Can this device hold a 100-meter pirate ship? Is this a joke? Mom, I feel like this guy is just messing with us for fun. No one in Big Mom's Pirates believed this madness. The capsule was too small to hold in their hands. Do you think we're fools to believe that such a device can really contain a 100-meter pirate ship? They thought. In the sound of the commotion, Kaido, the captain of the Beast Pirates, was surprised and his eyes suddenly lit up. He was very excited. When he was exchanging the artificial devil fruit with Doflamingo before, he still disliked the manual handling problem. He never thought that Jigen had developed a technology to solve this troublesome problem in the past few days. Whirroro. Kaido raised his head and laughed. He couldn't wait to say. Jigen, show it now, I can't wait. King directly drew his sword and handed it to Jigen. Jigen-san, if you can't find anything, you can experiment with my sword. Jigen nodded, put King's sword on the ground, and immediately said. I'm going to start. Everyone looked at Jigen with great expectation. Everyone took it very seriously, fearing to miss a single detail. Under everyone's attention, Jigen pressed a button of the capsule and then threw the capsule to the sword on the ground. Suddenly, a burst of smoke appeared. With a sound of explosion. The smoke quickly disappeared, revealing that King's sword had disappeared. Everyone's eyes narrowed. Disappeared? Is the sword inside? Damn. It's incredible, isn't it? Under everyone's bewildered eyes, Jigen picked up the Universal Capsule and threw it to the ground again. Just like before, after the smoke, King's sword appeared again. It was exactly the same, without any difference. Now everyone present was convinced that this small capsule really contained King's sword. And the most sensational thing is that you simply need to press the button of the capsule, then throw it. You can store items. It's too simple and does not require any other complicated operation. Kaido was very excited, quickly took out his personal belongings, a mace and a huge jug, and then took the capsule from Jigen, wanting to try it for himself. Jigen directly handed the Universal Capsule to Kaido. Kaido followed Jigen's operation from a moment ago with a look of excitement and, indeed, with the sound of bang. All of Kaido's items disappeared. Kaido quickly picked up the capsule from the ground, pressed the button again, and dropped it on the ground. The items reappeared instantly. This made Kaido excited, and he started an in and out, and enjoyed himself like a child. As he tried tirelessly, he praised Jigen. Good material. Good material. It's a great strategic convenience for us in the Beast's Pirates. Big Mom saw Kaido continue to test this universal capsule, and she was also a little anxious to try it. Kaido, let me try it too. Big Mom didn't care if Kaido agreed or not. She immediately went through the magic door and returned to her main hall, then brought back many desserts and grabbed the universal capsule in Kaido's hands. Kaido was not selfish, and he couldn't be with this woman, to whom he owed a great favor. So he gave his old friend a chance. Big Mom put her snacks in the universal capsule and saw the cakes and desserts disappear. She was happy and then released them again, and the cakes appeared in front of her again. Ha ha ha, mama, mama. She let out a strange laugh that was unique to her. This thing is amazing. When her children saw this scene, they also felt that this universal capsule was very useful. Their mother has a really annoying food disorder. If she doesn't have a certain dessert, she will go crazy. If she is crazy, there is no distinction between the enemy and them. Everyone can be in danger. With this universal capsule, it is easier to deal with a disorder. However, desserts are prone to spoilage. You can't keep them for too long in this capsule of yours. Katakuri thought and sighed. After everyone heard his words, they also thought of this key point, which was indeed the case. However, Jigen sneered and said, "You don't need to worry about this problem at all. The items stored in it will be frozen for a while, and even if they are stored for 100 years, they will not deteriorate." Big Mom Pirates. This time, everyone in the Big Mom Pirates was completely stunned. Can even time be frozen? Scientific disaster. You're too scary. At this moment, everyone in the Big Mom Pirates felt their scalps numb and only felt that Jigen, the field of science, was extremely terrifying. Jigen chuckled. In fact, this multi-purpose capsule is powerful. It can freeze time, as it contains no oxygen, no bacteria can survive in it, so naturally, there is no decay. Chapter 38, Big Mom gets excited seeing Big Mom try out the universal capsule with a snack. Kaido immediately felt that Big Mom was joking and took the universal capsule in his hand. This thing contains food, it's simply an insult to Jigen. Jigen actually wanted to say that he doesn't care at all, but considering that Kaido is his captain anyway, he'll give him a bit of face. Kaido loudly said, "Come here, push some strong ones here and bring some firearms and ammunition." As someone who loves to fight, he has some ideas. Soon, more than 100 men brought a batch of weapons, and more than a dozen people pushed a huge fortress. Even if they were strong, they were still panting. "Kaido-sama, here it is." Although these turrets are powerful, their biggest disadvantage is that they are too bulky. Kaido sneered, stored all the ammunition in the universal capsule, and then easily placed these giant cannons where he wanted them. Kaido found that his idea was feasible and immediately filled with joy. He opened his hands and said loudly, "Everyone, the war will change, welcome to a new battlefield." Ugh, cluck, cluck. Kaido's hearty laughter sounded in the hallway. Everyone in the Beast Pirates was stunned, especially the high-ranking officials, who had a golden light in their eyes. They all understood the strategic significance of this invention. Ha ha ha. I always felt that the firepower of the artillery on the ship was insufficient, but now with this universal capsule, the firepower is absolutely utilized. Jack laughed excitedly. The universal capsule is a weapon of war. Everyone in the Beast Pirates is very excited, and everyone in the Big Mom Pirates was also stunned when they saw it, feeling a little envious of the Beast Pirates for having such a scientist. Both sides were in a superior position after the fight, and everyone understood how terrifying this multi-purpose capsule was, making them look extremely solemn. A cold light shone in Katakuri's eyes, and he said in a deep voice, "This universal capsule is a perfect combination with that door that allows you to go anywhere." His brothers couldn't help but look at Katakuri, only to hear him say slowly, "A universal capsule can contain a 100-meter-long pirate ship, which is considered to have a capacity of more than 10 tons. If it is filled with gunpowder, what will happen? And then a dozen more universal capsules. All the beasts only need to find a moment to use the door, in the territory of a major force, even at the naval headquarters. It only takes a second to blow everything up." Katakuri recounted everything about the combination of universal capsule and magic door. The Big Mom Pirates were all terrified and a shiver ran down their spines. Even Big Mom, the head of her huge family, felt fear, not for herself, but for her territory. It was like having a knife to the throat at all times, not even letting you breathe. This feeling was really unpleasant. This thing is also very powerful. It should be difficult to make so many. It is estimated that the Beast Pirates won't be able to create so many universal capsules for a while. Cracker whispered. But just after he finished speaking, he didn't expect Jigen to simply take out 9 more capsules and make all the Big Mom Pirates stare at him. "Friend, can you give us a little hope?" Prospero spat out his tongue in horror. Now, everyone in the Big Mom Pirates is truly scared. The current Beast Pirates have the Magic Door, the Universal Capsule, and the Senzu Bean, so what kind of battle can't they win? The current Beast Pirates can say whatever they want, and there is almost no force in the world that can face them head-on. Kaido took the remaining 9 Universal Capsules from Jigen, only to hear Jigen say, "Insufficient funds, there is only enough for this small amount." The people of the Big Mom Pirates suddenly became very uneasy when they heard this. Did this disaster speak human words? 10 capsules and they say that's all? Do you know that a single capsule is already very scary, let alone 10? Kaido was in a good mood and laughed. But suddenly, Big Mom made a bold statement. "Brat, you want to be part of the Big Mom Pirates, I can even marry you to 3 of my daughters." However, as soon as this sentence came out, the momentum in Kaido's body suddenly erupted into flames, and the momentum continued to increase. The black thunder flashed, and it turned out to be a direct release of Conqueror's Haki. Kaido said in a low voice, his eyes were extremely cold, like those of a dragon, "Linlin, I said before not to let your mind wander. Will you try again?" Not only Kaido, but the rest of the Beast Pirates were ready to fight at any moment. Mr. Jigen is the treasure of our Beast Pirates, and no one can snatch him away. Many subordinates were not afraid in the face of this fierce giant. Big Mom looked at these little chickens react so violently to her own words, and immediately gritted her teeth, but then quickly laughed. Mama. Who is afraid of whom? But now, the Beast Pirates have many super technologies. In Big Mom's opinion, it is not wise to fight for that little scientist at this time. She had to suppress her anger and said, "Well, Kaido, then you have to give me a Universal Capsule." Chapter 39, The Business Genius Jigen. Big Mom coveted Jigen, a great scientist. Until then, everyone had seen that Jigen, a scientist capable of developing super technology, was extremely useful for the development of her own power. When Big Mom saw this, she was previously absolutely stubborn with the Beast Pirates, but now she also had a lot of fear in front of the Beast Pirates with their super technology, so she had to take a step back. She asked Kaido for only some Universal Capsules with a deep voice, but Kaido firmly refused. However, after Kaido refused, she mentioned the matter of the favor that Kaido owed her again. This directly turned Kaido's face black, and he said with a deep voice, "Linlin, how many favors do you want from me for this favor of yours?" King, Queen, and the rest of the Beast Pirates were also speechless. Although the devil fruit that Big Mom gave to their captain is a rarer devil fruit than a Logia, it doesn't take that much favor to return it, right? Basically, it doesn't need to be mentioned all the time. Even Jigen couldn't help but twist the corners of his mouth. Seeing that Big Mom was going to continue talking, Kaido directly waved his hand. He felt extremely powerless and said impatiently, "Linlin, don't say it anymore, I'll give you a Universal Capsule and cancel everything I owe you before. If you dare to use this favor in the future, I'll forget our old friendship." When Big Mom heard this, the corner of her mouth twitched, and she changed her words. "If that's the case, then I want magic beans, not Universal Capsules. Compared to the Universal Capsule, the Senzu Bean, which can save lives, is more useful. Having this is equivalent to an extra life." Kaido's face suddenly sank, and he said in a low voice, "Linlin, you don't have to go too far." Big Mom still showed reluctance to give up and said, "The scientific disaster just said that funds are insufficient. Presumably, you Beast Pirates don't have enough funds now, right? I can give you money, Kaido." Kaido raised his hand, wanting to continue refusing. However, King, who was beside him, approached Kaido and whispered, "Kaido-san, this may not be a bad thing for us." Kaido listened to the words and swallowed the words he wanted to reject. He planned to listen to what his subordinate had to say first. Only listening when King continued. "As long as we have the money, we can create Senzu Beans indefinitely, and as long as Brother Jigen is in our Beast Pirates, then we can firmly grasp this technology. Our current funds of the Beast Pirates are not too abundant, and we only get them from the Big Mom Pirates, so we can not only make Senzu Beans, but also make the Magic Door and the Universal Capsule, etc. Even let Jigen's brother develop new technologies." Kaido couldn't help but sigh, but did not respond immediately, but reflected for a moment and then said, "So, what do you think is the right price?" After thinking about it, Kaido also thinks that King is right. In this way, not only can he earn more, but also allow Jigen to develop new toys. After listening to the words, King fell into deep thought. According to the previous calculation, the cost of Senzu Bean is around 100k. After all, Jigen made 100 pieces with 100 million Belai funds. The cost price of a Senzu Bean is 100k. If the selling price is too high, that troublesome woman may not be happy. I think 3 million balai is the most suitable price, per senzu bean," said King. After Kaido heard the words, he was also a little worried. To be honest, if the price was too high, Big Mom would definitely talk about favors again. Thinking like this, Kaido and the others heard a voice. "Ma'am, a senzu bean has a price of 10 million balai." When Kaido and King heard the sound, they saw that Jigen had directly quoted the price of the magic bean, and the two froze immediately. Queen and Jack also heard the conversation between their elder brother and Kaido, and now Jigen, the younger brother, is quoting 10 times the profit. I have to say, if you want to talk about a black belly, Jigen is still the one. Jack muttered silently. Jigen scolded inside, they don't know anything. Can research and development of this kind of thing only look at cost? Do they also need to consider the costs of their R&D system? Although it is said that there is no need for R&D costs, after all, there is a system, but how can it be done without a large amount of money? Jigen is still hoping to develop new technology. When Big Mom on the other side saw that Jigen offered the price, she accepted without hesitation. "Ha ha ha, Mama, no problem mosquito, then 10 million Baileys." Big Mom agreed very easily. Firstly, it left a good impression on Jigen, and secondly, she was afraid that Kaido would regret not rejecting the deal. This is equivalent to many opportunities to preserve her life and the lives of her children. Big Mom said again. "Kid, give me 100 right now." Kaido and the other beast pirates couldn't help but gasp when they heard the amount requested by this old woman. They had to say that the Big Mom pirates were really the owners of the black market. Even Doflamingo had to take a tail in a negotiation with the Big Mom pirates. The reason why she made such a request is because of the magic of this invention and, secondly, to show off financial resources in front of Jigen. They don't need to buy artificial devil fruits every day like Kaido. She wants to plant a seed in Jigen's heart, to attract him when his research lacks funding. Until then, Jigen naturally was amazed in his heart, this woman is a rich woman. Kaido didn't expect her to actually buy so much at once. The cost is 1 billion balai. As long as this fund is in place, the subsequent development funds for Jigen will be sufficient and there is no need to cut off the supply of artificial devil fruits. He really made a profit. Kaido couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. Everyone, good job. This month's bonus will be given 10 times. Kaido is not stingy with his subordinates. Yes, long live Kaido-sama. Ah, this time I can marry Komurasaki-chan. Even for the Tobirabo, this bonus was quite tempting and exciting. Chapter 40, New research is really expensive. After Big Mom decided to buy senzu bins and get a few universal capsules, she had the bold idea of wanting to buy a magic door. "Kaido, that arbitrary door, I can also pay for it," Kaido said directly. "No way." Even with a huge deficit of money, Kaido doesn't want to sell it, because the magic door is different from senzu bins and capsules. It can go anywhere the user has been. A super strategic weapon. The arbitrary doors are too important. Kaido became furious instantly. "Linlin, you really have enough, believe it or not, don't even think about the magic door, it's not for sale." Big Mom was forced to give up. In fact, it was just a try. This time, she contacted Kaido and got enough things, and the others will have to wait until next time. With the conclusion of the transaction, she returned to Whole Cake with her things and her children. As for payment, half the money was paid to the Beast's pirates first and the remaining half was handed over later. After all, it was 1 billion Bailey. With the closing of the magic door, the Big Mom pirates returned to their hall. This time, the contact between the two emperors was up to this point, and some of the sons and daughters had not recovered from the surprise. At the moment the door opened and closed, the two emperors completed the contact, like a dream. Big Mom was really satisfied. She couldn't help laughing when she looked at the senzu bean and the universal capsule in her hands. Then, she chose one of her sons who had no sense of existence, beat him to death, and then gave him a senzu bean. Seeing the dying son instantly revived with blood, she couldn't help but laugh excitedly. Mama! Mama! It's really amazing." The other sons and daughters were amazed to see this scene. Then, Big Mom assigned a senzu bin to the 10 strongest of her male children, as well as the women. Katakuri was the only one privileged with 5 senzu beans. Something that left Sparrow and Cracker really amazed and a little jealous, as they only received 3. So if they encounter enemies like the Whitebeard pirates and the Red Hair pirates, they all couldn't die. The rest of the bins are kept by Big Mom herself. Meanwhile, on the other side, after Big Mom and the others left, Kaido and the Beast's pirates laughed heartily. The laughter of the Beast's pirates echoed throughout the banquet hall. Kaido looked at Jigen and said, "I didn't expect you to have such business acumen in addition to your research and development skills. This time, we made a big profit." King is in charge of fund allocation in the Beast's pirates and is in a good mood. Beast's pirates will be able to operate for a long time as long as that old woman keeps spying. At this moment, Kaido looked at the half of the payment this time and said, Jigen, the profit from this batch of payment is split in half. I want to know what you plan to develop now. Jigen wanted to wave his hand and refuse. If you subtract the cost, his profit is 250 million baileys, due to the first payment from the Big Mom pirates. The other 500 million are for the others and for trading with Doflamingo. After this month, Jigen's assets now have more than 300 million baileys, many of which are bonuses that Kaido rewarded. He doesn't need to spend anything on the Beast's pirates, as everything can be found by Queen and King. However, Kaido insisted on giving it to him. Jigen, naturally, had no problem and returned to the laboratory with his own money and funds. The next day, Jigen handed Kaido the second magic door, which surprised Kaido. When it was first developed, it took Jigen almost a month. He didn't expect it to be completed in less than a day. Certainly. Kaido doesn't care much about this, anyway, as long as Jigen can develop the technology for himself, that's enough. Kaido assigned this second arbitrary door to King. To be precise, it is shared by the three disasters, but they must inform King when they use it. Then, Jigen gave Kaido a bag of magic beans, which made Kaido feel that today was a good day. Jigen waited silently for Kaido to finish distributing, and then said with a smile, Captain, I have a new idea for technology research and development here. It takes a lot of money. Oh. After hearing that Jigen had new research ideas, Kaido was very curious, along with the other executives. Queen hurried over to Jigen, his eyes shining with curiosity. King exclaimed. As long as you develop it, no matter how much you need. Jigen laughed and said. The cost this time is 1 billion. Whistle. Jack just took a deep breath. Kaido and the others were also surprised when they heard this terrible amount. What? Why do you need so much money this time? King asked anxiously. This price is really expensive. The 1 billion baileys they took from Big Mom are for the expenses of artificial devil fruits and other weapons they buy from Doflamingo. They really can't come up with this amount. Jigen felt helpless seeing everyone's horrified faces. After he developed the universal capsule, he unlocked the new technology again. This time it was something from Dragon Ball again. Chapter 41, Time Room. After Jigen developed the universal capsule a few days ago, the technology system once again unlocked a new technology, which is the Time Room from Dragon Ball. Of course, the research and development cost 1 billion baileys. Everyone was surprised when they heard that the new funding this time would cost 1 billion baileys. For over a month, the Beast Pirates had spent too much, and now the funds were very insufficient. Of course, it's okay to take out 1 billion baileys, but this will make the Beast Pirates face a difficult situation, and it is very likely that they will directly go bankrupt and the pirates will collapse. The factories, as well as other aspects of the business, need to use working capital. As for the remaining 500 million from the Big Mom pirates, they still had to wait 2 days for Linlin to gather that amount of money. Don't look at Big Mom as rich, she is indeed, but you have to know that all of Tato land is made up of more than 30 small islands, where hundreds of thousands of beings live in each one. She, as a qualified leader, cannot just take out 1 billion baileys as she pleases. That's why she agreed to pay half, and the other half would be paid 3 days later. This really annoyed Kaido. But it's better than nothing, since they were seriously short of cash. After thinking about it, Kaido asked, what is the new technology this time? Kaido decided to ask, and if it didn't make much sense, he would put it on hold. This time, the research and development is called the Time Room, which can be considered a training place. This place can not only change the training location that the user wants according to their mind, but also has the function of changing the flow of time. What? Queen exclaimed after hearing the words. The cigar in his mouth fell directly to the ground. But at this moment he only felt his scalp numb, shocked beyond words. How could he even care about a cigar? He grabbed his head in extreme shock. Changing the flow of time, this. I can't even think of it. Queen was quite stubborn about his pride as a scientist, so much so that he openly declared that he would surpass Vegapunk himself, but since Jigen appeared, this pride as the world's greatest scientist was gradually fading away. Brother Jigen, can you really do this? Everyone looked at Queen and couldn't help but feel inspired. Unlike them, Queen instantly understood what Jigen was saying. But the others were still not as surprised as Queen. However, his reaction made them understand that Jigen's new invention is more terrifying than the previous ones. Kaido said. Jigen, explain better, it's too esoteric and we don't understand it very well. Jigen didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so he just said. That is to say, practicing in the time room for 1 day is equivalent to practicing outdoors for a month. Boom. Everyone was shocked, something normal in this past month. 1 day of training inside is equivalent to 1 month outside. This kind of technology is something that no one in the Beast Pirates dared to imagine before. Doesn't this mean that 12 days inside equals 1 year outside? So, 120 days inside are 10 years outside? Kaido's body trembled and his mind shook. This is incredible. Although Kaido obtained his power and physique through countless life and death battles. But this is still important. Imagine getting the 6 styles of the Marines on the black market, and having his subordinates practice them, even train inside this supposed room. With this time variation, they will become stronger. In addition, he can organize tournaments from time to time and give generous rewards to make them strive twice as hard. King and Queen had thought the same as Kaido, especially Queen, who likes to watch these spectacles. They have come to where they are today, who doesn't trust the accumulation of time to gradually become stronger. However, now, Jigen invented something that can change all of this, and this has unleashed a great wave in their hearts. Looking at Jigen's eyes, it was like seeing an extremely terrifying monster, which made people tremble. Even Kaido felt chills down his spine. Terrible technology. After a long time, Kaido digested all of this and his eyes burst into a dazzling golden light. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whirrororo. If you can really create something like this, in the field of scientific research, I would like to call you the strongest. Queen thought that if Jigen could really create such a thing, he would ignore it as a goal to surpass. Kaido laughed heartily, his excitement and enthusiasm written on his face. He grabbed Jigen's shoulder with his big hand and vigorously shook him. With a helpless expression on Jigen's face, he said enthusiastically, "All right. Build it." Kaido said solemnly, "When I followed Captain Rox, I learned the fastest way to get money." Jigen couldn't help but be interested. After all, this was Rox, who was the supreme lord of the sea back then. He was naturally interested in such an ancient existence. Kaido said laughing, "The fastest way to get money is to snatch the celestial gold." Jigen. King. Queen. Jack. Chapter 42, The news spreads every month. The allied countries will deliver the celestial gold, and those stupid nobles will also bring a large amount of celestial gold when they travel. Everyone was a little excited to hear this. After all, they wouldn't be true pirates if they didn't have the guts to commit such an act. Especially the members of the Tobirapo. Except for Black Maria, who after the adventure with the Whitebeard pirates, had a mental shadow and decided to take a break and continue running her brothels. All other members of the Tobirapo group were excited to prove themselves. This leaves Jigen a little dumbfounded, worthy of being a pirate group that advocates violence. Jigen has no objection to Kaido's money hoarding plan. The group of celestial dragon nobles has developed to this day, and is intimidating the world. Fighting against the celestial dragons is everyone's responsibility. King took the initiative to ask, and said solemnly, "Kaido-san, I will be responsible for finding the route and collecting relevant information. At that time, we just need to use the gate." King's proposal immediately made everyone's eyes shine, and for the first time, they felt the comfort that this gate brings, and the terrifying aspects of this technology. With this arbitrary gate, adding life-saving beans, isn't it easier to snatch the gold from the Tenryubitos than to eat and drink water? At this moment there was another celebration in Onigashima. While the beast pirates planned to snatch the celestial gold, the news of the recent storm has been spreading in the outside world. Although the news of the Senzubans has been deliberately suppressed by the world government and the Marines, it still spreads among the major forces. Giant Island, Amazon Lily, Alabasta, Thriller Bark, Mohawk, even several supernovas sailing in different parts of the Grand Line. All major forces and powers know of the existence of the magic beans. There are still 2 years left until the prophecy. The time is approaching, and the world is beginning to rise. Murmured King Neptune on his throne. Is there really such a thing? If I can get it, Shirahoshi could be safer. Magic bends? Can it heal any wound, even scars left many years ago? Hancock's beautiful eyes lit up and she couldn't help but hold her long and slender legs while receiving the news. Sister, if we can get it too, does that mean we can heal the shame behind this? Hancock only thought of this, and the corners of her mouth couldn't help but outline. We must get it. In a dimly lit castle, candlelight flickered and the light reflected on a man with delicate facial features. This man was the world's greatest swordsman, Dracul Mayok. He looked at the news in the newspaper without the slightest expression fluctuation. However, those who know him will know that he is very attentive to these news, otherwise he would not have read them for so long. After a long time, Hawkeye silently said to himself. The fourth disaster. Interesting, I wonder if it can create an unparalleled sword. The major powers that received information from their own channels are very interested in this technology and want to obtain one. Jigen, the famous young scientist of the Beast Pirates, has entered the eyes of the world's major powers. Everyone's eyes turn to the past, and for a while, The beast pirates became the focus of the strong and the target of the public. Everyone began to plan and prepare to do something against Kaido. Dressrosa, inside the king's palace. A dendenmushi is ringing. Doflamingo hurriedly answered. In the past few days, he had been waiting for news. Now that the snail rang, he couldn't help but take it eagerly. In front of him is the undercover agent who snuck into the beast pirates. The Don Quixote family has cooperated with Kaido of the Beasts for many years. It is relatively simple to put an undercover agent in the beast pirates. Young master, what Kaido said before is not entirely correct. That gate is called an arbitrary gate or a magic gate, which allows the user to go anywhere they want to go, but the only restriction is that it must be a place where they have already been. Kaido concealed this at that time. Upon hearing the report from the undercover agent in the beast pirates, Doflamingo took a deep breath. It was completely different from what Kaido had told him before. The only thing Kaido didn't mention was the restriction, but even with this restriction, the arbitrary gate was still extremely sharp and worth calling an ancestral artifact. Treble, a top executive, was very excited. With this, the business of our Don Quixote family can be in full swing. He is in charge of managing the underground port trading market. With this arbitrary gate, the Don Quixote family's underground market can develop even further. Doflamingo is thinking of using it in the strategic field. With this thing, his goals can be achieved fast enough, and even if he wants revenge, he can use the gate to silently reach Mary Ejos. Shortly after he hung up, a new undercover agent came to report. Young master, the scientific disaster has invented a new technology. Doflamingo and the rest of the family executives showed expressions of consternation. Pika exclaimed with his high-pitched voice, "What a monster, another invention in such a short time." He even felt fear towards Jigen. It's only been more than a month, and he has developed several technologies in succession. Is this something that humans can do? Doflamingo and the rest of the family couldn't help but be stunned. On the opposite side, the undercover agent began to report on the new invention, Universal Capsule. Young master, can you believe it? This thing looks like a capsule, very small in size, that can fit in one hand, but this thing can accommodate a maximum of a marine vessel. Don Quixote family. Everyone in the family was completely speechless, and at this moment they only felt their scalps go numb. Another such outrageous technology. As an arms dealer involved in the underground arms business, they immediately thought of the utility of this universal capsule. And being able to load weapons is very obvious in a strategic sense, and this is definitely a strategic artifact. Where did Kaido find this brat? Doflamingo was a little envious. With his wit and this young man's talent, his family could reach new heights. It wouldn't be difficult to become a 4 emperors at all. After Doflamingo fully digested these things, he murmured. You can ask, once Kaido wants to sell these things again, report it immediately. The undercover agent on the other side was a little helpless. Young master, this is impossible, even. Doflamingo pondered for a moment and decided to hang up first without listening to his excuses. After all, long-term undercover contact will cause trouble. After hanging up, Doflamingo was lost in thought. After Doflamingo thought about it, he decided to settle for the best option. First, he obtained a universal capsule, and only needed one for his arms business to sell well and improve efficiency. In terms of trade conditions, Doflamingo decided that the next batch of artificial devil fruits would not charge money to the beast pirates. Instead, they could negotiate for a few toys in exchange. Doflamingo has reached the position he is in because he actually doesn't fear death. What can be said? No fear of success. The next day, Jigen woke up with a tremendous headache. He opened his eyes and looked around, seeing that he was in his traditional room. Trying to get up, he found it impossible, as a warm body was pressing against him. After reacting, he felt his arm numb, trying to move his hand, accidentally squeezing something extremely soft and bouncy, earning a moan in response. Jigen. Silence. After coming to his senses, Jigen's heart jumped upon seeing Ulti lying naked next to him, and him squeezing her butt. Shit. Chapter 43, Conflict Between Lovers. Come here, you bastard. On the lower floors of Onigashima, Ulti was chasing Jigen wildly. Seeing her terrifying club in her hand, anyone who knew her knew she was dead serious. Meaning, she intended to kill or seriously injure Jigen. Fuck off, crazy, listen to me first. Jigen ran frantically. He cursed the moment he was convinced to drink by Jack. Bastard, I'll kill you, how dare you take advantage of me. Ulti had no intention of listening to Jigen. What are you talking about? It was you who wanted to come to my room, besides, you were enjoying it. Jiren bravely shouted. When his eyes vaguely turned red and he dodged Ulti's attack for a second. Ah. That was, observation hockey. King, who is always the first to get up, was watching all the commotion these two were making. He was about to intervene when he saw Jigen suddenly dodge Ulti's attack, which was meant to hit him. Yes, although it is still in its beginner phase, Brother Jigen seems to be training observation hockey. Queen was also very observant. Speaking of which, it was your idea to get him drunk. King looked at Queen with obvious disdain in his eyes. Don't look at me like that, sadistic pervert. I feel like Brother Jigen doesn't fully mesh with our pirate group. Just yesterday Maria told me Ulti was curious about Brother Jigen. It wasn't too difficult to get the two alone, and look, my plan worked. Knowing that insolent brat, she won't let him escape. Queen chewed his cigarette as he laughed evilly. And this can reinforce and fully unite him with our beast pirates. King finished speaking for Queen. Bingo, if young Master Yamato didn't have his personality problem, he would have talked to Kaido-san to have them join forces. Unfortunately, he is always saying he's that stupid Odin. Queen said with annoyance. However, I don't know if Ulti wants to fully tie him down or kill him. King said with a trace of amusement in his tone. Returning to the small battle, Ulti was crazily chasing Jigen. Seeing her terrifying club in her hand, anyone who knew her knew she was dead serious. Meaning, she intended to kill or seriously injure Jigen. You're good, you've awakened observation hockey and you're training it, not bad. Ulti praised. Jigen rolled his eyes at the other's false praise. Fine, fine, if you survive this attack of mine, I'll forget everything that happened. Ulti said slowly. When her yellow club turned dark and sudden lightning covered it. Many who were watching the lovers' battle were surprised. Sister. Don't kill my brother-in-law. Page 1, who was also watching, worried, this attack even he would fall unconscious in his animal form. You. Are quite shameless. Who's Who, a member of the Toby Rappo group, looked at Page 1 with disdain. Even he would like to have that kind of brother-in-law. Returning to the battle, which had become a complete show for the beast pirates. Ulti gripped her sharp-tipped club and, covered in hockey, swung it against Jigen. Jigen was truly defenseless, seeing that neither King, Queen, nor much less Jack, came to help him. He had no choice but to show some of his current power. These bastards are shamelessly colluding. Jigen muttered with annoyance as he watched the Honorable Three Disasters act. He wasn't stupid, and with just a little thought, he knew the trap he had fallen into. He had no choice but to take responsibility. Bushaku. Jigen murmured and his forearm was completely covered in armament hockey. Quickly he counterattacked. Boom. The clash was extremely fierce. Unexpectedly, Ulti was completely repelled and dominated by Jigen. Although dominated wouldn't be the word, because she hadn't entered her beast form. Ulti was surprised when she was completely repelled by Jigen. She thought he was just a weak scientist. She didn't really expect him to be almost at her level in combat. Suddenly, she felt restless arms grab her waist shamelessly. Jigen looked into Ulti's beautiful eyes and said seriously. I'll take responsibility for what I did. Ulti, would you like to be my girlfriend? Since he joined the Beast Pirates, he and Ulti had been constantly fighting. He also had to admit that they had a certain chemistry every time Ulti showed interest in his research and helped him instead of Yamato. Compared to Yamato, who kept acting like a man, something that made him a little uncomfortable, Ulti acted more like a woman. Ulti's face blushed deeply, as she hit Jigen's forehead with considerable force from a headbutt. Don't touch me, you fucking pervert. Ulti yelled to hide her embarrassment and ran away. Jigen was stunned and motionless on the ground, harshly rejected. Damn Jack, I have to clean all the hatred in my heart with you. Watch how I use you in some of my experiments in the future. Jigen said with annoyance, still lying on the ground. Seeing that the show was over, everyone went to do their duties. Unexpectedly, Page 1 quickly ran to Jigen to help him up. The other members of the Toby Rappo were left speechless with this boy. Days passed in an instant, and after a few days of calm, what followed was news that shook the world, and this news quickly spread throughout the world. The Whitebeard Pirates have another mishap. After their member Blackbeard killed the 4th Division Captain Thatch, he defected from the Whitebeard Pirates. This news rocked the major forces. Previously, the Whitebeard Pirates were attacked by the Beast Pirates and suffered great losses, but now a captain-level powerhouse has died, so their reputation is severely damaged. Chapter 44, Tension in the New World. After a few days of nothing happening, a big news spread throughout the world. Teach, a member of the Whitebeard Pirates, defected after killing his own 4th Division captain. The main forces are trembling. Navy Headquarters, Maniford. In the conference room, Sengoku, who was at the top of the board, finally showed a smile. The things with the Beast Pirates made him frown, and now he finally heard good news in favor of the Marines. The Whitebeard Pirates have just been attacked by the Beast Pirates. The loss is not small, and the blow to morale is also extremely severe. The current Whitebeard Pirates must be severely damaged and depressed to the extreme. Okainu spoke with a deep voice and said the possible situation of the Whitebeard pirates. Sengoku knew what Okainu wanted to do and planned to take the opportunity to continue suppressing the Whitebeard pirates. He said, "Now, the focus of the Marines is not on the Whitebeard pirates, but on the Beast pirates and their scientific disaster. That's what the Marines should pay attention to. In addition, the transport of celestial gold has recently arrived. Okainu, Kizaru, this time, you are responsible for this task." When Akainu saw that the marshal's decision was different from his own, he couldn't help but darken his face and didn't say a word. When Kizaru heard that Sengoku wanted him to go on a mission, he was reluctant in every possible way, and said with a twisted mouth, "Sengoku-san, I don't think 2 admirals are needed for this. Since the collapse of the Rocks pirates, there have been no people who dare to play with the idea of the Tenryubido's gold. Even among the 4 emperors' crews, I think vice admirals are suitable for this type of task." Kizaru, being Kizaru, quickly passed the ball. Sengoku's tone suddenly turned cold. To be prepared for danger in times of safety, celestial gold is extremely important. Once something changes, the world government will inevitably hold us responsible. I cannot bear such responsibility. Kizaru had no choice but to give up and accept the mission this time. Soon, Akainu and Kizaru left the conference room. Tado Land. Whole Cake Island Big Mom was very excited after receiving the news that Blackbeard killed Thatch, the 4th Division captain, and betrayed the Whitebeard pirates. That old Whitebeard must be desperate right now. Ha ha ha, mama. Big Mom can imagine how bad her old dwarf buddy who likes to play family games is feeling right now. Along with the fact that Kaido led the Beast pirates and attacked the Whitebeard pirates and turned their hideout into ruins, Big Mom felt that now was a good opportunity to take some action. She looked at Katakuri and said, "Katakuri, call all those guys, we're going to start expanding our territory." Under Katakuri's summons, the other 2 sweet generals, as well as the main figures, arrived at the main hall to meet. Seeing that all her children who were in Whole Cake had arrived, Big Mom gave a decisive order. Now that a series of changes have occurred in the Whitebeard pirates, morale is bound to be low. This is a good opportunity for us to take action. Each of you leads your troops, starting at the intersection between our nations and the territory of the Whitebeard pirates, eroding the Whitebeard pirates' territory. Big Mom smiled brightly, and her eyes revealed absolute confidence. With the combination of the Senzubin and the Universal Capsule this time, she will definitely make a big wave and expand Tado Land. Her children below had no opinion. After getting the Senzubin, they really want to make a big wave, to test how cool a war with these bins will be. Big Mom looked at the backs of all her leaving children and sneered. She couldn't help but look towards the site of the Whitebeard pirates. "Old Newgate, you've been sitting on the throne for too long, even Roger hasn't been there that long, it's time to step down." Mama. Elsewhere, the Red Hair Pirates are now beginning to attack the true combat force of the Beast Pirates, but in order not to disturb Kaido and trigger a war, Shanks chose to attack on a relatively small scale. Soon, they also received news that the Whitebeard Pirates had changed. I did not expect Whitebeard to treat his subordinates like children, and for them to choose to betray him. Yasop sighed. "It's normal. Don't forget, we're pirates and us pirates are a bunch of selfish guys." Ben Beckman mocked and said, "Deputy Captain, does that mean you're selfish too?" Someone joked. Although everyone felt sorry for what happened to the Whitebeard pirates, after all, they belonged to different factions, so they didn't take it too seriously and started joking around. Only their captain looked very solemn after seeing the news. This guy. Shanks couldn't help but think of the first time he met the Whitebeard pirates, when he and Buggy were still apprentices of the Roger pirates. Buggy told him that Blackbeard was a monster who could stay awake for 3 days and 3 nights. At first, he didn't care too much, until he met Blackbeard, who left him with 3 scars on his eyes. Shanks realized that Blackbeard was not easy at all. This guy has been deliberately hiding, planning his own plans and steadily advancing. Shanks had a feeling that something was wrong. After thinking about it, he called a newcomer who had just joined the Red Hair Pirates. The subordinate came forward with a confused look and asked his captain what was going on. Shanks didn't say much either. He looked at the newcomer and said in a deep voice, "Go and make sure this reaches Whitebeard." The man was immediately surprised. "What?" The surrounding crew members also looked at their captain, very puzzled. Why did their captain write to Whitebeard? Shanks didn't say much, he just smiled. "This matter is very important. As long as you can complete the mission this time, you can become a regular member and follow any captain." The subordinate was surprised at first, but after hearing the words, he immediately took the letter and left. Chapter 45, The Resurrection of Thatch. Blackbeard's stealth attack killed Thatch, which enraged Ace. He wanted to go alone to find the bastard Teach. Whitebeard had an ominous premonition in his heart and persuaded Ace to give up on this matter. However, Ace placed great importance on emotions and was very stubborn, so he decided to go and capture Blackbeard. Looking at Ace's obstinate back, Whitebeard could only let him go. Now that his injury has healed, if anything happens, he has a way to act. Since this kid wants to create trouble, let him create trouble. If you want to put him on a throne, you have to let him grow on his own. Ace left the Whitebeard pirates in search of his ex-crewmate's head. At this moment, Marco, standing beside him, said in a deep voice, "Oi Audrey, do you remember something? What that guy said when we faced Kaido?" Whitebeard, who was sitting in the high-back chair, nodded and said in a deep voice, "Yes. I remember. That guy is really not easy. Could it be that he knows something?" Whitebeard and Marco fell silent. The words Jigen said that day came true. Blackbeard betrayed the Whitebeard pirates, Thatch died, and Ace went in search of Teach. It's scary just to think about how Jigen knew this was going to happen. The atmosphere of the Whitebeard pirates was sad and depressed. In the past, the Beast Pirates' sneak attack made them flee, and it deeply struck their hearts. Now, the death of Thatch, the captain of the 4th Division, has erupted everyone's repressed emotions. Thatch's subordinates cried around their captain. To them, the captain was like their brother. "Captain, how can we eat delicious food after you're gone?" Looking at Thatch's body, Whitebeard seemed sad, but he was the captain of a ship and the father of all. He couldn't be defeated, he had to be strong. At that moment, Whitebeard's eyes shone and something appeared in his mind, a green bean. Whitebeard immediately said, "Marco, we have some green beans, use one on Thatch." After the defeat of the Whitebeard pirates, they began to choose the same strategy as all the Red Hair pirates, which was to loot the Beast pirates' subordinates and obtain many beans to prepare for the next battle with the beasts. Upon hearing Whitebeard's words, Marco was stunned, and the other captains were also surprised. "Dad," Marco said. He wanted to refute Whitebeard, after all, it would be a lost illusion, but he still wanted to try. The Senzubin turned into green light and entered Thatch's body. The other members around him could not help but hold their breath, looking at him, praying that their Nakama could be resurrected. However, this time, more than 10 minutes had passed and there was still no movement. Just when everyone felt hopeless, a green light suddenly appeared in Thatch's body. In the astonished eyes of everyone, Thatch, who was wrapped in green light, was rapidly healing his wounds. His tremendously pale skin began to slightly redden, and then his body temperature quickly recovered. Then a strong heartbeat sounded. After everything had recovered, Thatch suddenly opened his eyes, and everyone around him couldn't help but shudder in fear. They didn't expect that in an attempt that seemed futile, it actually worked. Even Whitebeard himself didn't expect something like this to happen. It must be said that he was resurrected. In the battle with the Beast Pirates, they really didn't pay attention to the death of Black Maria. After all, they couldn't confirm if they had really killed her or just left her out of action. So when he was resurrected, they didn't even realize he had died, and thanks to the Senzubin, he had come back to life. Thatch stood up and looked around incredulously as he lay in a pool of his own blood, recovering his life. He looked at his friends without understanding, looked around and said, "Are you all dead too? Is this heaven or hell?" Up until that moment, everyone in the Whitebeard pirates woke up like a dream, bursting into exclamations. They were excited and happy. Thatch really resurrected, and the Senzubin has the effect of bringing back the dead. After the joy and excitement, everyone felt horrified, wondering what kind of monster Jigen is. Where the hell did Kaido get him from? On the other hand, Blackbeard, the initiator of all the major events, escaped to a small village. He was just swaggering down the street. At this moment, Blackbeard, who had been resisting for 20 years, was finally let go, making it seem as if he had gained a new life. He was very happy, now he has no bounty, so he doesn't have to be afraid of running into the Marines. Blackbeard swaggered down the street, thinking about what to do next. Now that he has taken the Yami Yami ability, he has the most evil dark power, and the first step is to gather powerful Nakama. Then he looked at the Senzubin lying in the palm of his hand, which made Blackbeard smile. This is what he snatched from the Whitebeard pirates on his way here. With this thing to save his life, his failure tolerance rate has improved a lot, and he has more confidence in his heart. After all, the Yami Yami has a very bad side effect, that is, it can't make his body elemental, and the pain he must endure when attacked is 3 times the original pain, so this bin is Blackbeard's trump card. With these 2 things in hand, plus his own wisdom, he believes he is invincible in the Grand Line. He carefully packed the bin and continued to think. Now that he has taken the first step, he will first recruit like-minded partners. After a certain scale and climate have formed, he will start implementing the plan to hunt down devil fruit users, and then... Just as Blackbeard was thinking about his future plans, the people on the surrounding streets suddenly panicked. and no one hesitated to kneel down. Tenri Ubito. And two Marine admirals? Quick, kneel down. If we're a target, then we're finished. Blackbeard's eyes narrowed slightly. He turned his head to look towards the center of the street, and saw not far away, a Tenri Ubito walking calmly down the street, not only the Cypher Pol agents of the personal guard, but also the highest extreme war power of Marine, Admiral Kizaru and Admiral Akanyu. Chapter 46, Snatching the Celestial Gold. 1. Onigashima Pitan, that bastard intimidated me again. You have to avenge your sister. Arinsu. On the upper floors, the current members of the Tobi Rappo were gathered. Page 1 was being shaken by his older sister, causing annoyance in him. Ulti seemed pitiful, but she was only having one of her many tantrums. Sister, we are going on a very important mission, you have to pay attention. Page 1 tried to persuade Ulti. Nonsense, this is more important, you have to hit that bastard for me. Ulti's voice became grave, completely changing her tone. One of the many traits of this woman. You are more powerful than me, why don't you hit him yourself? I can't bite the hand that feeds me. Page 1 thought to himself, not daring to express his thoughts. A few days ago, he woke up to train in the arena of Onigashima and saw his sister grabbing Jigen's forearm, looking quite happy. It was a pleasant surprise for him. On one hand his sister would stop bothering him, and on the other hand Jigen would have him in quite a consideration for being his brother-in-law. So much so, that behind the curtain he received a magical door and 20 senzu beans. Page 1 was extremely grateful to Jigen, supporting his relationship with his sister 100%. But what he didn't expect was that his dear sister would continue to be the same as before. Hey Tan, don't worry, I hate that bastard, you will always be my favorite. Arinsu. Her voice became soft and melodious again, hugging him, almost leaving him breathless. Page 1 had a headache. As for Ulti, after that fight with Jigen, she became much more annoying and irritable. It wasn't until Jigen took her to the capital of flowers, as a date, to make this fierce woman accept being his girlfriend. It took him a long 3 days to make Ulti reluctantly accept him. Jigen had to admit that he loved Ulti's personality, annoying and tender at the same time. The funniest thing was that Ulti had actually fallen completely into Jigen's trap, although she didn't show it, even being quite possessive. Ulti felt a lot of warmth in Jigen's arms, and even more when she was pampered by him, feeling extremely comfortable with him. Her crazy personality and Jigen's passive personality fit perfectly together. Despite all her complaints about Jigen, Page 1 was used to seeing her use the magical door to sneak into Jigen's room. Ulti was very bad at hiding it. Their rooms were next to each other, and as she used to stay up late at night, he saw every day the shadow of his sister suddenly disappear, returning very early in the morning. Something that left him completely stunned due to the use his sister was making of this highly important strategic resource. This would be every day. He really admired the energy of these two. The goal is to steal the celestial gold from the Tenri Ubito. We have information that this time Admiral Kizaru and Admiral Akanyu have been deployed. We will take care of them while you try to snatch the celestial gold. King entered the meeting room along with Jack, Queen, and Jigen. I just wanted to watch all the fun. He admitted. These guys are really scandalous, worthy of being the pirates of the animal kingdom. Stealing the celestial gold from the world government to finance their research. Jigen was dying to see Sengoku's face when he had to explain to the 5 elders if they were successful in the theft. It's an easy mission, and if we succeed, we can help Jigen-san develop his new invention. King spoke seriously, expressing how important the mission was. After all, the Room of Time was the #1 priority right now, above the artificial fruits. Boom. Suddenly, Kaido entered the room, swinging his huge mace. Arg. I'm bored, so I'll go too. Kaido warmed up his old bones as he laughed. This surprised and made some uncomfortable, thinking that Kaido would steal the spotlight from them. Many wanted to experience what it was like to fight an admiral. After all, with the senzu bins, their potential would undoubtedly explode, reaching their limit several times and then recovering their vitality. But with Kaido there, they wouldn't have a chance to have an encounter with them. Then why the hell did they summon us? Ulti, as usual, lost her cool and had to be held back by Jigen as Page 1 had wandered off unnoticed. Kaido ignored this as usual and then snapped his fingers. Immediately, 2 men brought in his door, which had been customized not long ago, with a magnificent blue dragon drawn on it. Jigen was speechless at the sight of this. He realized that his captain had a lot of free time. Grand Line in a small kingdom affiliated with the government. Blackbeard's pupils contracted at the sight of such a scene. Blackbeard is the person who lives the most like a true pirate in this world, due to his strange ideologies. He has both his own ambition and the treacherous, oily head of a pirate thief. To avoid causing trouble, Blackbeard quickly knelt down on the ground with the people around him. Now he doesn't want to enter Marine's field of vision too quickly, And especially now he's not necessarily the opponent of an admiral, let alone two. As he knelt, Blackbeard established a rule for himself in his heart: when he becomes the king of the world in the future, whether it's Marine or the world government, everything will crumble. Just as the Tenri Ubito and his escort were about to pass by Blackbeard, a magnificently decorated door slowly appeared in the center of the street, blocking the Tenri Ubito and his escort's path. This door appeared so abruptly, without the slightest signal, as if it had always been here. On both sides of the street, the kneeling people also found this strange, which made them exclaim inconsistently. The Tenri Ubito, sitting in his luxury carriage, slave, showed a surprised expression and pointed to the door in front of him. What's wrong with this door? Why did it suddenly appear in front of me? Chapter 47, Snatching the Celestial Gold. 2. The Cypher Pol agent organizations also didn't know what was happening. Nevertheless, the sudden change put them on alert. Okainu, who was following behind, pondered, squinted his eyes, and looked towards the pink door not far away. Inexplicably, he felt a little uneasy in his heart, a sense of crisis. Kizaru on the side said with a surprised expression. This door appeared suddenly, it's really amazing. His expression was evasive, a little confused about the situation before him. On both sides of the street, Blackbeard, who was kneeling among the crowd, felt only confused. When he had just passed by earlier, he knew very well that this door was not here. What's going on? Blackbeard was very surprised. Without waiting for everyone to think about it, the door slowly opened, a huge figure appeared inside, and a sturdy leg came out of it. Everyone just felt the ground tremble. Okainu behind the Tenri Ubito suddenly shrank his pupils after seeing this figure, and his face suddenly became gloomy. Okainu finally understood why he felt a sense of crisis at this moment. How can this be? Kizaru on the side was also very surprised. Kaido appeared in front of them from the other side of the door. For some reason his huge body was able to pass through this ordinary door. In the crowd, Blackbeard had cold sweat dripping from his forehead, and his mouth opened slightly in surprise, revealing the missing teeth. Shit. Is that Kaido's castle? Moreover, Wano on the other side of the red line, in the New World, how is it possible to suddenly appear here? Two different regions are connected? What is the situation with this magical door? The appearance of the magical door and the appearance of Kaido surprised the audience. A name appeared in Akainu and Kizaru's minds in an instant: scientific disaster. This research and development of technology is a headache even for Vegapunk, a highly qualified scientist. But it's too challenging to develop this technology. The Tenri Ubito, who was protected by the Cypher Pol agents, quickly regained his calmness after a brief period of shock and fear. He looked at the door in front of him with surprise in his eyes. He was a little intimidated at first by the size of this giant that suddenly appeared, but soon realized that there were two Marine admirals accompanying him, so he was not afraid. He pointed to the door and asked, "What is this?" No one responded because no one knew what it was. He continued, "This door looks very powerful, Kizaru, Okainu, go and grab that door, I want it." However, Okainu and Kizaru did not move, their eyes were very dignified because the current Kaido is not the previous Kaido. With the research and development of his new disaster, he is completely an undead creature. So, for now, we must first observe the situation and see what purpose Kaido has. Kizaru had already planned in his mind that once the war really began, he would report immediately to the naval headquarters. Kaido was dominant and looked at everyone in front of him with a playful smile, not even putting these admirals in his eyes, let alone a celestial dragon. Ugh, whirro. Kaido laughed lowly, like the excitement of a beast when it sees its prey. Okainu, Kizaru, two defeated men, we meet again. Kaido's expression was stubborn and playful at the same time. This made Akainu on the opposite side grit his teeth in anger. Bastard. When Kaido made a big fuss at the naval headquarters, if not for the Senzu Bean, Kaido would have been sent to Impel long ago, even if he later escaped. Kaido saw what Akainu was thinking and sneered. The things invented by our scientific disaster are the things of our beast pirates. I use our own weapons to defeat them, you Marines, is there anything wrong? Akainu stopped talking, although what Kaido said was right, he obviously would not admit it. His eyes narrowed even more, and besides Kaido, there were other people from the Animal Kingdom pirates coming out of the door. They saw Queen the Plague coming out of the door with a cigar in his mouth, followed by a group of highly powerful crews. These were Ulti, Page 1, Sasaki, and Who's Who. The elites of the beast pirates came out of that strange pink door, which made Akainu and Kizaru even more solemn. It was Jigen and Jack who finally appeared. Now that Jigen's security is fully entrusted to Jack, Kaido only told Jack one thing: if anything happens to Jigen, you will be Queen's test subject for the development of new poisons. Jigen walked with great interest. This time, he was also here to join in the fun. although it was said that there was a check-in to become stronger. The check-in in the last few days did not improve his strength too much. He wants to see if there is any reward for starting a fight with 2 admirals nearby. Jigen still chooses to accept Jack's protection. Although Jack is very reckless, he is still very attentive when facing the task. No matter what danger he encounters, he will take his life to protect him. Chapter 48, Snatching the Celestial Gold, 3. Jigen saw the Tenryubito heavily guarded by Cypher Pol agents in front of him. Unfortunately for him, he had come with his wife and over 21-year-old daughter, and it was very unfortunate that they chose this day to seek their tribute. There were 3 of them in total, all dressed in space suits, which made Jigen complain a bit. They're idiots, don't they feel bored like that? What if it's hot? Is there a cooling unit in that stupid suit? Jigen didn't just come for the check-in, he also chose to came to join in on the fun. After all, it was too boring to stay in Onigashima. It was full of clouds, and the atmosphere with lightning and thunder made people feel depressed. If it weren't for Ulti brightening up his day, he would be spending all his time in the capital of flowers. Just as Jigen's mental activities were frequent, Who's Who had a strong aversion to the world government and especially the Cypher Pol organization, said, He, you're so young and have to be babysitting this scum of the world all the time, I'm sorry for you, but don't worry, I'll free you from this hell of yours. The Cypher Pol agent escort frowned at this. Who's Who was still smiling. If you beg for mercy in front of me, I might consider letting you go. After speaking, he smiled sinisterly and added, Die faster. In the past, he was a spy member of the CP, working directly for the world government. However, when he was transporting a certain devil fruit, he was intercepted by the Red Hair Pirates and had no choice but to flee. Because of this, he was expelled and hunted by the world government. Until Kaido offered him refuge in exchange for his loyalty. Thinking about this, Who's Who even pointed at the Tenryubito and cursed, You, worms huddled in turtle shells, how can you pretend to be gods? If it weren't for the support of the Marines and CP, I could crush all of you bugs with one finger. Who's Who's insults directly caused the Tenryubito to break defense, trembling with anger, turned his head angrily towards Sakainu and Kizaru, and ordered, Go. Go and kill that guy for me, I want his head as a trophy. Suddenly, the eyes of the world noble turned fierce. No, I want him captured alive and let him experience the feeling that life is worse than death. Okainu and Kizaru did not speak, and were speechless for a while. These guys didn't know the gravity of the current situation. The current beast pirates are not the previous beast pirates. They have an unknown number of senzubins in their hands. After realizing that the beast pirates, in all their glory, were completely serious, Kizaru had the idea of retreating. Even Okainu, the grudgeful admiral, had the thought of retreating too. No matter how dissatisfied the celestial dragons are, they cannot change the decision of the 2 admirals. There is only one end if they decide to fight head-on against so many monsters at once, and that end is death. Okainu ignored the roar of the celestial dragons and told the Cypher Pol agent and others, First take these guys to evacuate, once on the warship, depart immediately, we'll try to buy as much time as possible. This will protect both the celestial dragons and the security of the celestial gold at the same time. All the Cypher Pol agents immediately nodded and agreed, this is the best option. However, just as the Cypher Pol agent wanted to take the Tenryubitos to leave in another direction, another door suddenly appeared in front of them. The agent's expressions changed greatly. There's another one? After hearing the exclamation, Okainu and Kizaru hurriedly turned their heads to look back and saw another random door. Okainu and Kizaru exclaimed. What? Kizaru couldn't help but say. They have 2 doors. It's really scary. Damn it. Okainu gritted his teeth. It seemed that the beast pirates came with a premeditated plan. A figure in black armor emerged from the door, and flames were burning behind him. This feature also made the people around him quickly recognize him. King. The expressions of Kizaru and Okainu were indescribable. With this guy here, the hope that the Tenryubitos would survive decreased even more. I see that the strange pink door is his new masterpiece. People around were talking a lot and felt very curious about the 2 mysterious doors. Blackbeard was amazed by such a novel interception method. At the same time, he was very curious, what happened to the sudden appearance of the beast pirates here? Okainu and Kizaru had no idea where they would appear next. If something happens, they will be severely punished by the world government. Both the Tenryubitos and the celestial gold. At this point, Okainu planned to take the initiative. He told Kizaru, I will resist the main force on Kaido's side. Kizaru, you are responsible for the back and fight to make an opening for the Cypher Pol agent to evacuate with the Tenryubitos. This is the best option in the current situation, otherwise, once the beast pirates are the first to kill, they will directly threaten the safety of the celestial dragons. After Akainu finished speaking, magma flowed from his body, and when his figure moved, The magma spurted from the soles of his feet, making him fly like a cannonball, and the magma in his hand turned into a giant fist, Funka. The magma fist went towards Kaido's face. Kaido saw that Akainu was covered in magma and attacked him first. He stopped talking nonsense and said with a smile, "I will deal with Akainu, you deal with the celestial dragons." Kaido was extremely confident, and after saying that, he directly held the mace in his hand and greeted Akainu's great eruption with a resounding 8 trigrams. The two offensives collided quickly. Taking advantage of Akainu's entanglement, ulti, page 1, Sasaki, and Huzu along with a group of fighters called Gifters and Shinichi immediately ran to the location of the celestial dragons. The celestial gold was behind the luxurious car of the Tenryubitos. The Cypher Pol member agents were pale when they saw such a formation running towards them. Without a doubt, the beast pirates came with everything. As for Kizaru, he was very defenseless. According to this situation, there was no way to escape. Without hesitation, Kizaru summoned his own laser sword, and immediately began to attack King who had already targeted him. King's longsword was burning with fire, and soon he fought with Kizaru. The two began to compete in sword handling. Chapter 49, Unilateral Situation. At the beginning of the battle, Kaido and Akainu played against each other. Queen and the others were in charge of grabbing the celestial gold, while King and Kizaru fought together. At first, King could fight back and forth with Kizaru, but Kizaru remained a strong player who took the position of admiral. After a while, King started losing ground. "Hey! King, you can't do it." Kizaru smirked, his hand still glowing with the golden light of the sword, and continued with a twisted mouth. "King, I have seen through your weakness." King didn't say a word. Although he didn't want to admit it, Kizaru put him under tremendous pressure. Just as he launched another attack and the flames from his body disappeared, Kizaru moved and his speed was extremely fast. Kizaru directly took advantage of the speed granted by the Glindland fruit model, light human devil fruit, to dodge King's attack and immediately appeared beneath him. With a smile, Kizaru thrust his light sword into King's abdomen. King was startled but had no time to avoid it. Next, he intended to eat a senzu bean. Queen launched a laser attack to distract Kizaru a bit, then his huge body leaped directly toward Kizaru. Kizaru looked at Queen, who was approaching aggressively, and couldn't help but sigh. It really is a group of reckless pirates. The two soon joined forces against Kizaru, which once again balanced the battle. In the entire battlefield, the current situation is that Kaido is alone against Akainu. King and Queen team up to deal with Kizaru, and Jack only needs to protect Jigen throughout the process, and he has been protecting him without moving. Jigen's life was more important. Jigen rolled his eyes. That's what the magic door was for, to escape, but Jack really was a. The turmoil began, and people around screamed and fled frantically, and Blackbeard in the crowd quickly found a hidden place and began to observe the battle. Blackbeard in the dark was quite amazed by the purpose of the beast pirates coming to snatch the celestial gold this time. As expected of the most truthless man to come out of the Rocks pirates, he dared to steal even the gold of the Tenryubitos. This is the money of the world government. After stealing it, they will definitely be pursued by the world government, and the beast pirates' reward will definitely increase significantly. But Blackbeard's eyes narrowed. He looked at the two doors. The most important thing is these two doors, otherwise, the beast pirates won't be able to snatch the celestial gold no matter how bold they are. What the hell is this thing and why can it connect two different regions that are thousands of kilometers apart? Just as Blackbeard was thinking about the magic door, he unintentionally looked in the direction where the celestial dragons were, and couldn't help but stare with wide eyes again in a state of shock, a burst of amazement. Under the strong attack of the Tobi Rappo, the Cypher Pol agent's defense line was completely vulnerable. Huzu, the former Cypher Pol agent, was the most fierce. He broke through in front of the celestial dragon car. When the celestial dragon screamed in horror, he slapped the celestial dragons directly until they bled, and immediately took the celestial gold while ulti, page 1, and Sasaki dealt with the other agents. He immediately put all the celestial gold into the universal capsule, and in just a moment, the full celestial gold disappeared. To complete this mission faster, and avoid encountering marine support, page 1 took out the universal capsule, and then, amid his and his sister's laughter, a strong giant appeared on this battlefield. Huh? In the darkness, Blackbeard was surprised to see this scene. What is that capsule? Blackbeard was really stunned, completely unaware of the situation in front of him. He clearly saw that the beast pirates were holding an extremely small thing. Why can that thing release such weapons? And the celestial gold also disappeared suddenly. At this moment, Blackbeard only felt his scalp numb and was completely stunned. Instead of disappearing, they put it inside. This conclusion can be drawn from the fact that these capsules are capable of storing and releasing objects. Blackbeard was stunned, not knowing how to describe it. Is this still my impression of the beast pirates? Scientific disaster. What kind of monster is this? On the battlefield below, Akainu and Kizaru, who were fighting relentlessly, also felt the changes on the battlefield. They saw the turrets that came out of the capsule in Page One's hand, as well as the heavy thermal weapons. For a while, they were also stunned. What the hell is this capsule? The two exclaimed in unison. This amount of ammunition is a bit terrifying. Kizaru couldn't help but be amazed. The amount of these heavy artillery and thermal weapons is terrifying. The most outrageous are the 3 giant turrets. It is difficult for any marine battleship to carry so much. However, these guys only need a small capsule to store that? Damn it. Akainu gritted his teeth in anger. This pirate group had something new and peculiar, so the situation would reverse in an instant. Arg! Akainu roared as he fought against Kaido. No need to ask anything, such technology beyond this era must come from the hands of the 4th disaster. On the periphery of the battlefield, Jigen, who was protected by Jack, couldn't help but twitch at the corner of his mouth when he heard Akainu shouting so angrily. He was extremely depressed and basically stayed in Onigashima and didn't go out. It's really unfair, I'm such a discreet person. Jigen doesn't have to guess to know why the Marines hate him so much. Chapter 50, Grave Situation. 1. Blackbeard was astonished by the fact that Jack was riding a man on his back. Blackbeard has a deep understanding of the powers in the current world. Jack is a very arrogant and dominant type. How could such a person appear as a mount? But the scene before him is a fact. Jack is indeed a mount now, and that man is still leading calmly on his back. Who is it? Blackbeard first searched for information about this person in his mind, but found nothing, which means that this is a person he had never seen before. Could it be? Blackbeard's deep eyes flashed with brightness. On the battlefield below, Akainu, Kizaru, and others were retreating, while the marine soldiers leading and the Cypher Pol agents protecting the celestial dragons suffered great losses. Everyone protected the celestial dragons behind them. Except for the 2 admirals, there was despair in their eyes. It was impossible to win, and even retreating became an extravagant hope. Within the protection circle, the Tenryubito family was very angry at the danger in front of them. What's wrong with you, Marine? Even the pirates can't solve it? We donated a good amount to you, the Marines, but we didn't expect to raise a bunch of trash like you. Marine Admiral? What a shame. They vented all their emotions on the Marine. This annoyed Akainu and Kizaru, 2 respected admirals. Akainu is even more furious, but he knows that this scum is the highest noble in the world, the founder of the world government, and they have to protect and respect him. He could only silently curse the beast pirates. Kizaru was considering his salary, something more important in his opinion than the words of the Tenryubito. The beast pirates continued to press the Marines with their artillery. Akainu fights Kaido again, while Kizaru releases his hand to contact Sengoku. Soon, Sengoku's voice sounded. Kizaru, what's up? Kizaru continued to dodge using his ability and said. Sengoku-san, something happened. We encountered the beast pirates, they planned to take the celestial gold. In the middle of his words, Kizaru was interrupted by the joint attack of King and Queen and had to become a golden flash to evade it again. Although Kizaru's words didn't finish, Sengoku was surprised when he heard that the beast pirates want to steal the celestial gold. Quickly rising from his seat in shock, Sengoku immediately summoned Aokiji, Garp, and Zephyr, along with 3 fleets from the naval headquarters for support. Aokiji and Zephyr were also surprised to hear that the beast pirates were after the celestial gold. Garp was unwilling to go and support, considering those guys as complete trash. Anyway, those guys are so rich, this lost lot is nothing to them. Zephyr. Aokiji. Sengoku. Amidst Sengoku's anger, Garp finally left the Marine Division headquarters with Aokiji and Zephyr to support Sengoku and Kizaru. After organizing the support, Sengoku had time to ask Kizaru what happened. Logically speaking, with such a big movement, it was impossible for him as a marshal to wait until that moment to receive the information. Moreover, they were in the Grand Line. How the hell did Kaido arrive so suddenly from the New World? Kizaru explained. Marshal, the beast pirates didn't come from the sea at all. They have a very strange door, and they emerged from it. This sentence made Sengoku doubtful. They didn't come from the sea, where did they come from? It's a door, the beast pirates have a very strange door, and they emerged from it. Sengoku was full of question marks at this moment. Door, what door? Kizaru's voice on the other end continued. Moreover, the beast pirates not only brought out a strange door this time, but also brought out something like a capsule. More than a dozen pieces of artillery can be stored directly in the capsule, even giant cannons and many heavy firearms. We are completely overwhelmed by the beast pirates. Sengoku felt that his brain was not enough to understand what Borsellino was reporting to him. He simply couldn't understand it. They came out from behind the door to snatch the celestial gold, and and dozens of heavy weapons and artillery were stored inside a small capsule. What kind of international joke is this? On the other side, Kizaru's voice continued to sound. Marshal, this is probably also related to the Beast Pirates' scientific disaster. This sentence made Sengoku understand some things. It turned out that what Kizaru said just now was technology. It seems that the world-famous fourth disaster created something new, but according to what Kizaru just said, the new technology this time is equally monstrous as the previous one. Suddenly, Sengoku's eyes lit up, and in his mind, he thought of the previous time when Whitebeard and Kaido came into contact, and finally ended with the defeat of the Whitebeard pirates. No wonder Marine hadn't received any news before. It turned out to be related to the strange door that Kizaru just mentioned. Perhaps the power of that capsule was also used at that time. Sengoku's eyes were extremely deep. Doesn't that mean that the Beast Pirates can use that door to reach a place silently? This is not right. I have to find out what the hell is going on quickly. On the battlefield, Kizaru was hit by King. Fortunately, he avoided physical damage by elementalizing in time, but the Den Mushi he was using to report was dead. He turned into a golden flash and approached the celestial dragons, immediately taking them to escape, but at that moment the huge figure of Kaido appeared behind Kizaru. Accompanied by a deafening roar, Raimai! Hakkai! Kizaru felt the threat of death behind him, turned his head, and saw a black iron bar, wrapped in black lightning, directly shooting towards him. This strike, with armament hockey and conqueror's hockey, can directly damage Kizaru's body, both internally and externally, so elementalization will not help him at all. Kizaru dodged without saying a word, and with his dodge, he avoided the attack, but the Tenryubitos in front of him were directly hit by Kaido's mace. Chapter 51, Grave Situation, 2. Kaido used his star attack to attack Kizaru, but he dodged it, causing Kaido's attack to crash directly into one of the Tenryubito. The ugly Tenryubito was stunned in an instant and helplessly watched as the mace fell on his face. The attack tore his body into pieces, all the bones in his body were broken, and the blood in his mouth was like he was dying. He flew hundreds of meters like a cannonball, falling to the ground like a chicken, and died on the spot. Elsewhere, the golden glow reassembled into a body, and Kizaru returned to his original form. He couldn't help but look at the tragic state of the Tenryubito, and couldn't help but twist his mouth. Although he didn't say it, Kizaru felt a sense of relief in his heart at this moment. This annoying guy was finally dead. Seeing that he had killed a celestial dragon, Kaido raised his arms and shouted. Great! Around the Beast Pirates, seeing their captain kill a world noble, they couldn't help but shout, echoing their own captain. In the distance of the battlefield, there were many brave people hiding behind bunkers to watch the battle. After seeing the death of the Tenryubito, they had the urge to shout along with the Beast Pirates. After all, these people are too oppressed by them. People's hearts are extremely reluctant to the self-proclaimed owners of the world. But in the end, due to long-term fear, no one dared to cheer, as it would be a death sentence. In the darkness, Blackbeard saw Kaido kill a celestial dragon without hesitation, and he had a tingling scalp from the shock. This is equivalent to directly declaring war on the world government, and it is an endless battle. Although they as the emperors of the New World were always hostile to the world government, the two sides were in confrontation, and now Kaido's focus is undoubtedly making the spear of the world government point at his Beast Pirates and destroy them at all costs. On the battlefield below, although Kizaru was comfortable with the death of this scum, as a Marine Admiral, he still had to take this responsibility. While Kaido was laughing out loud, he immediately took the corpse, along with the woman and daughter who had fainted due to shock. Kizaru's speed was extremely fast. Kaido couldn't catch up to him at all. If Kizaru wanted to escape, few people in this world could stop him, so he decided not to pursue. This time the main goal of stealing the celestial gold was achieved, so he simply let them go. He looked up at the sky and laughed out loud. Previously, all of Whitebeard's pirates fled in front of him, now 2 Marine Admirals did the same. This made Kaido feel very comfortable and gave him the feeling of being number one in the world. Subsequently, Kaido ordered his subordinates to annihilate all the remaining Marine soldiers and members of the Cypher Paul Agent. So far, the battle has come to an end and the Beast Pirates have completed the mission perfectly. All members of the Beast Pirates cheered and celebrated this victory. At the same time, they continued to praise the genius of Jigen technology. In the darkness, Blackbeard continued to watch as the Beast Pirates took out capsules one by one and stored all those giant turrets, artillery, and heavy firearms. Simply press and throw it at something, not to mention how convenient it is, anyone can easily pick up those capsules that should weigh over 10 tons. In the end, the Beast Pirates passed through the gate and left the battlefield with an air of victory. It is estimated that everyone's rewards will rise again, which makes them very happy. Blackbeard swallowed his saliva as he witnessed all of this. He felt that the Beast Pirates would mark a new era, right in the era that should belong to him. On the other hand, after Kizaru found a safe place, he connected with Sengoku through Akainu Den Mushi. Akainu didn't say anything and handed his Den Mushi to Kizaru. After the battle with Kaido earlier, Akainu was a bit autistic, which made him choose silence. Naval Headquarters, Maniford. Marshal's office. At the moment the Den Mushi rang, Sengoku quickly answered and asked, "How's the situation?" Sengoku has been worried since the call was cut off last time. At this moment, he was still standing, anxiously waiting for good news. On the other end of the Den Mushi, Kizaru's voice sounded. "Marshal, something bad happened. A celestial dragon died." Chapter 52, Situation Report. Sengoku's pupils immediately contracted, his face turning white with a swoosh, and then he sat directly in the chair behind him. A dead Tenryubito, this time comes with a big problem. After Sengoku digested the news in front of him, his face suddenly sank and he gritted his teeth. Kaido is really too arrogant. Damn it. Does he want to start a total war? Once a Tenryubito dies, the world government will never let it go, not to mention all the celestial gold that's been stolen. Sengoku only felt a headache and things were getting more complicated. On one side, Saru looked at Sengoku and immediately said, "Sengoku, don't we have one of those bins?" Sengoku was stunned when he heard the words and couldn't help but look at his old comrade. He remembered that all the senzu bins he had gotten before had been used up. Saru couldn't help but shake her head and said solemnly, "Vegapunk took one to investigate, you can use it in its place." Sengoku couldn't help but rejoice when he heard the words, "Yes. I almost forgot. Anyway, that guy can't understand the concept behind that thing, I'll ask him to bring it back. Anyway, Vegapunk can't find a way to replicate the senzu bean, it's better to use it to solve urgent needs." A great stone in Sengoku's heart was immediately lifted. He told Kizaru anxiously, "Kizaru, bring back the corpse of the Tenryubito." After Kizaru hung up, Sengoku informed Garp and the others to return. The beast pirates have now retreated, and there's no point in them continuing to pursue them. Soon Garp, Zephyr, and Okiji returned to Sengoku's office. As soon as he entered, Garp cursed and said, "Sengoku, are you kidding us?" Okiji and Zephyr were also a bit bewildered and didn't understand what happened. Just as Sengoku was about to respond, at this moment, there was a video call from the five elders. For the five elders to contact him, Sengoku had already guessed that it was this time. The celestial gold was stolen, a Tenryubito was killed and 2 were injured, plus all the members of the Cypher Pol Agent organization were annihilated. Fortunately, the Marines still have the last bean. Soon the call was connected and a projection screen was shot out in the eyes of the Den Mushi. On the projection screen, the five elders appeared with somber faces. You can see how angry the five elders are right now, which makes Sengoku straighten his sitting posture. The voice of the eldest elder on the opposite side sounded. "Sengoku. What the hell is going on? Why did they attack the celestial dragons?" Garp, Aokiji, and Zephyr were also very curious as to why the beast pirates suddenly appeared in the Grand Line from the New World. "Elder, the incident of the attack on the celestial dragons this time was essentially caused by the beast pirates' attempt to capture the celestial gold." Before Sengoku could continue speaking, the blonde elder on the opposite side was very surprised. Another elder said in surprise, "It's the beast pirates again. These guys have been jumping around a bit lately. Now their target is celestial gold. Is this a direct offense to the world government?" The other elders also looked grim and surprised at the same time. "By the way, why did the beast pirates appear in the Grand Line? This is not reasonable. From the New World to the Grand Line, we have not received any news of such a large-scale journey." The short elder was also very puzzled. This should not happen, unless their spy agency was eating shit. This time they cannot completely blame Sengoku for this matter, because Cypher Pol Agent has also been involved in gathering intelligence on the beast pirates since the last time Whitebeard and Kaido made contact, but they still have not received any intelligence. On Sengoku's part, he cleared his throat, coughed and drew the attention of the five elders and others. After the five elders looked at him, Sengoku said solemnly, "According to the information we received from Borsalino, this time the beast pirates arrived through a gate. We suspect that the gate connects Onigashima with any possible location. This time the Marines' mission is to protect the celestial gold after tax collection, in addition to the capricious Tenryubito accompanying them." After hearing Sengoku's information, the five elders on the screen were stunned. This was completely beyond their imagination. Without waiting for the five elders to ask Sengoku to continue speaking, Sengoku continued, "The turning point of everything was the capsule that the beast pirates took out. It is said that the capsule is only the size of a palm, but it can store 3 giant turrets, a dozen pieces of artillery, and several heavy thermal weapons." Sengoku recounted what he had heard from Kizaru, which surprised everyone present. They didn't know what to do for a while. and everyone looked foolish. Am I hearing a fantasy story? Aokiji couldn't help but scratch his head and murmur. Zephyr's heart was shocked. Strange gates, fantastic capsules, if Marine had these things. When they are in danger, just use that gate to connect to the Navy headquarters. Whether it's a surprise attack or a retreat, it's an absolutely top-notch artifact. And what kind of capsule? Isn't it equivalent to unlimited firepower? The 5 elders on the other side of the screen were still unconvinced. Coming directly from Onigashima to the Grand Line, Sengoku, are you sure? What kind of technology can be so powerful? Cold sweat broke out on the forehead of the 5 elders. This event fully demonstrates the strength of the beast pirates at present. Just as the 5 elders were pondering, the voice of the report suddenly sounded from the opposite side. A member of the CPO appeared on the screen and came to the front of the 5 elders. After a respectful greeting, the Cypher Pol Zero agent reported. 5 elders, something happened. The tax collection team was annihilated and a Tenri Ubito was killed by Kaido. Austin's wife and daughter are still unconscious. What? The 5 elders were horrified. Chapter 53, Stealing from the Beast Pirates. At first, Sengoku thought that the 5 elders knew about the news of the death of a Tenri Ubito. What? A Tenri Ubito was killed? The faces of the 5 elders instantly turned black, which was completely beyond their expectations. The 5 elders looked at Sengoku with anger. Sengoku, what is going on? Were you planning to hide it? On the other hand, Garp and the others only now found out about the killing of a celestial dragon, and their faces changed drastically. This time, the Marines are in big trouble. The world government will definitely impose a sanction. Sengoku was helpless. He originally thought they knew about this matter, but he did not expect that the other party did not know. But he did not say much, only opened his mouth and said, 5 elders, calm down first. Calm down? How do you want us to calm down? Celestial dragons are the highest nobles in this world. Even if you are the marshal of the Marines, you cannot assume such responsibility. Sengoku cursed inwardly, can't you just listen to me first? He quickly told the 5 elders that there was still a Senzuban in Vegapunk's hands. Upon hearing this, the anger of the 5 elders on the other side was relieved. They also know that the Senzuban can resurrect. Since Marine has this thing in their hands, the Tenri Ubito can be resurrected. The matter was suspended for the moment by the 5 elders. The blonde elder let out a sigh of relief and then slowly said with a deep voice. I can't wait and see how things change. We did not bother the beast pirates, but they are bothering us. If we endure it, the beast pirates may step on our heads and pee on us. That's right. The bald elder also said. That bastard Kaido is a reckless man, and showing weakness will only make them more presumptuous, so we have to make a move. After dealing with the beast pirates for so many years, everyone knows what kind of person Kaido is. On the other hand, Sengoku was a little dignified. His fingers couldn't help but come together, and he reflected. Although there is nothing wrong with that, but now the beast pirates have that guy, it is very difficult for us to attack them. Even if he can really lead them into a dead end, but now the beast pirates have that strange gate. On the opposite side, the short elder nodded solemnly. Of course, I have considered it. Sengoku, there may be many ways to attack the beast pirates. It does not have to be a direct conflict with the beast pirates, as long as the beast pirates can be weakened and then maximize our interests, that is the perfect move. Do you understand what I mean? The 5 elders looked at Sengoku solemnly. Sengoku instantly understood what they meant. To target the beast pirates, Marine only needs to target those who are weaker. Currently, they do not need to confront the beast pirates. First, they will fight against the gorillas and see if they can harvest technologies, like the Senzuban and that strange storage capsule. He knows that the gate is impossible, as it is more likely to be possessed by important figures. Marine only needs to target these 2 technologies for now. On the opposite side, seeing that Sengoku instantly understood what they meant, the 5 elders were very pleased. This time, I will also send help from the Cypher Pol agent to assist you. The main objective is to snatch those super technologies, the more the better, and by the way, to combat the arrogance of the beast pirates. As long as we can dominate enough super technology, the world government will completely unify the whole world and bring peace to the world, and you, the Marines, can also drive out the 4 emperors. While they were discussing the beast pirates, the news that the beast pirates stole the celestial gold spread quickly. Unlike the previous ones, this time there were many common people who saw this incident. These common people naturally spread the news quickly, but the world government suppressed the killing of celestial dragons. People all over the world who received the news were shocked. The beast's pirates are too bold, aren't they? It's been almost 40 years, and no one dares to think of celestial gold. Even Whitebeard's pirates. I always feel that the beast pirates have been very audacious since they recruited the scientific disaster. No matter who it is, they dare to be arrogant. Yes, To snatch the celestial gold, seeing this case is going to war with the world government. Ah! In these years, the world will not be peaceful. People all over the world felt that a storm was coming. An island hidden in Grand Line, Calm Belt, known as the continent of White Earth, is the secret base of the Revolutionary Army. In a simply decorated conference room, all the top leaders of the Revolutionary Army gathered, each with information, and looking at the information above, everyone's face was filled with joy. The beast pirates have stolen all the gold from the world government this time. Such news is still very exciting. Sabo laughed. We can sit and watch the world government bleed after this. It's a happy thing to think about. The entire Revolutionary Army gave a thumbs up to the beast pirates for this incredible feat that no one dared to attempt since the era of rocks. Chapter 54, Whitebeard surprised the Revolutionary Army was very pleased that the beast pirates had stolen the celestial gold. For them, the best thing was for the world government to fight against the beast pirates in a comprehensive way. At the top of the conference table, Dragon's expressionless face was seated, his deep eyes looking at the information in his hand. This information not only contained the news reported in the newspaper, but also things that were not in the newspaper. It was collected by the Revolutionary Army's delineator, upcoming news. A door that can directly reach Grand Line from Wano. And storage capsules filled with ammunition and weapons. He murmured for a long time. These things made him feel a little uneasy. Doesn't this mean that the store can also silently appear in the base of his Revolutionary Army? No. Although the Revolutionary Army has never had a conflict with the beast pirates currently, but in the face of the current world trend, it must follow the trend. It must get more information about the scientific disaster and their recent technologies. New World Moby Dick. After the current base of the Whitebeard pirates was destroyed, the group remained on the whale ship. Whitebeard believed that this should prevent Kaido from attacking his own pirate group using that door again. At this time, Whitebeard, Marco, Jazu, Sachi, and other captains received news from their own delineators. This time the content of the news surprised everyone. He killed and injured the Tenri Ubitos. Whitebeard seemed surprised. This guy has always been so unrestrained. Did he forget why the Rocks pirates were finished? Whitebeard murmured with nostalgia. About 36 years ago, Rocks led the strong men under his command to kill the world nobles in God Valley. That incident shook the world government and directly led to their highest elite to take them down. Marco shook his head helplessly. He had been with Whitebeard for a long time, so he knew a lot about his father's past. Dad, there was no scientific disaster in that era back then, nor were there senzu beans. Whitebeard let out a long sigh and nodded. That's true. With that bin, Kaido doesn't need to fear death at all. And to be able to attack Marine without any preparation, the beast pirates can do it now. Kaido probably used a door invented by that guy. Sachi said. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates fell silent. The beast pirates are truly terrifying now. After a while, Whitebeard said with a deep voice. However, if Kaido continues to expand like this, one day all the forces in the world will unite to attack. No force will be at ease letting such a big threat like the beast pirates grow, especially the world government. Marco and the others nodded, just like the Rocks pirates back then. When a force is so powerful that no one can shake it, then the major forces in the world will unify with the outside world. Even Roger joined the Marines back then. If this comes to light or reaches Morgan's ears, it will shake the world. The beast pirates acting like this will definitely become the next threat, just like their Captain Rocks. Just as everyone was discussing these things, Marco's Den Mushi rang in his pocket. Marco quickly answered the microphone, yes. On the other side was Squard, one of the captains of the Whitebeard pirates. Squard's voice was a bit breathless and sounded embarrassed. Marco, we failed. Originally, we thought there weren't many people stationed there. Who knew that when we decided to attack, all the big shots including Kaido would appear through a strange door? Squard's voice became sharp, with an incredible tone. That guy King pulled something like a capsule directly from his pocket. Dad, Marco. Can you believe it? It's only the size of a palm. But it directly produced 4 giant turrets and more than 20 pieces of artillery. Our 3 main fleets joined forces and still we were annihilated in a matter of seconds. On the Moby Dick, the members of the regiment were surprised to hear this. What the hell is this time? A capsule that can store 4 giant turrets and more than 20 pieces of artillery? This capsule is the size of a palm? It's just strange. In the high-backed chair, Whitebeard furrowed his brow, and after a while said solemnly. It seems that the scientific disaster has produced a new masterpiece. Jazu couldn't help it, he pounded the plywood and said solemnly. That guy invented something new so fast, even Vegapunk isn't that scary. In a month and a half, so many technologies have been developed, and each technology is more challenging than the previous one. Other members of the Whitebeard pirates nodded, and also felt how scandalous the scientific disaster of the beast pirates was. "Are you okay now?" Whitebeard suppressed the annoyance in his heart and cared for his son. "Squard, Dad, don't worry, we managed to escape. And although we failed this time, there is good news. We grabbed some bins from trash members. I have to say that the beast pirates are really rich, to give 2 senzu bins to so many trash guys. I don't even want to imagine how much the important members under Kaido have." Squard let his imagination run wild. Whitebeard asked Squard and others to eat fairy bins first to recover from their injuries, but Squard and the others refused, saying that their injuries were not serious and they didn't need to waste this treasure. Whitebeard had no choice but to give up, then told Squard and the others. "Squard, you and the others recover in Wano, try to stay low-key. Remember that the location doesn't matter, the most important thing is the super technology invented by the scientific disaster, and that is the important goal we want to achieve." On the other side, Squard took the lead, and hung up the Den Den Mushi with a determined look. He didn't want to disappoint his father's expectations. Just as Marco also hung up the Den Den Mushi, a member shouted and ran towards Whitebeard. "Dad. The red-haired man has sent you a letter." Whitebeard was very surprised and didn't understand why the red-haired man would write to him, but he didn't care too much and said, "Bring the letter here." The report member said helplessly. The red-haired man's subordinate said he has to deliver it to you personally, otherwise it won't be. Whitebeard immediately felt dissatisfied. That bastard has always been so insolent. "All right, bring him here." Whitebeard was curious about the matter that made Akagami send him a letter. Chapter 55. Shanks once again shocked. Whitebeard knew that Akagami's behavior has always been to ignore him, but unexpectedly, this time he took the initiative to contact him. He thought about it. Now is an extraordinary time, with the beast pirates, who are growing rapidly. Maybe someday in the future, his Whitebeard pirates will join forces with the red hair pirates to face Kaido. No. We can't wait any longer. According to the speed of their technology development, maybe within a few months, that guy will directly develop a super technology that makes the beast pirates invincible. Since we want to suppress the beast pirates, we must seize the right moment. Thinking about all this, Whitebeard said solemnly, "Bring him here." Soon, led by the members, the man arrived at Whitebeard. In front of Whitebeard, he behaved very naturally. "Sir, this is a letter from my captain to you." He handed the letter to Whitebeard with great respect. Something that naturally deserved this remnant of the old era. After Whitebeard took it, this time he didn't directly tear it up, but chose to observe the contents of the letter. After a simple reading, Whitebeard knew that the main objective of the red-haired man's letter this time was to remind them of Ace. Blackbeard's strength was much stronger than they imagined. Whitebeard's eyes darkened. He didn't expect Teach, that is, Blackbeard, to hide so deeply under his nose. Now that the winds and rains are turbulent, there is a state of affairs that has spread throughout the world. Judging from this situation, it is really necessary to call Ace to prevent him from having an accident. Whitebeard put aside his thoughts and asked Marco to write the letter so that he could respond to the red-haired man. This time, Whitebeard intends to let Akagami come in person, that is, he intends to meet Shanks. The location is set on a small island at the crossroads of the two sites. Just as Shanks' subordinate left with the letter from Whitebeard, the red hair pirates received news from their own channel. Next to the campfire, all the crew members were surprised to see the beast pirates snatch the celestial gold and kill a Tenryubito. "Is Kaido crazy?" Yasop asked in surprise. After offending the Whitebeard pirates, he even ran to offend the world government. Isn't he afraid that all the forces will unite against him? The waters of the world government are really deep, not for nothing have they ruled for 800 years. Yasop felt that the beast pirates were being too arrogant due to the new disaster. Haha. Ben Beckman took a deep breath and sneered. If we also have the blessing of that thing, we would be arrogant too. As long as there are enough senzu bins, there's no need to fear death. Yasop thought for a moment and nodded his head. I don't know who that kid's parents are, but giving birth to someone so terrifying is an achievement of the era. Ben Beckman chuckled. Indeed, Vegapunk is trash compared to that brat. Of course, he was joking. After straightening his face and containing his joking expression, Ben Beckman became solemn and said, "What intrigues me the most is how the beast pirates managed to get there so quietly. According to the information, this time, not only were there Cypher Pol agents, but Akainu and Kizaru were also there. Under the protection of many warships, Kaido not only stole the celestial gold, but also killed one Tenryubito and critically injured two, which is very surprising." Shanks finally said, "I've been wondering about this too," he said as he stroked his chin with his regenerated arm. "I feel like this is related to the last time the beast pirates were able to enter the territory of the Whitebeard pirates." Just as Shanks, Ben Beckman, and others were puzzled about this issue, An intelligence officer rushed in and brought the latest information to their superiors. After Shanks and the others took the latest information and examined it, all the top executives suddenly looked at each other with dignified and horrified expressions. The beast pirates broke through the outer defenses of the island through 2 gates and reached the celestial gold? Damn, is our intelligence line drunk? Yusuf couldn't help but curse. He felt that his secret agent was probably drunk, otherwise how could they report such scandalous news? Ben Beckman shook his head. Although our intelligence network has just been established, it is relatively weak compared to others. Now the most likely explanation is that this gate is a new technology developed by the 4th disaster. There was a sudden silence among all the top executives of the Red Hair Pirates. That's too much. This new technology can reach Grand Line directly from Wano. Yusuf still couldn't believe it. This is a complete challenge to his worldview over the years. And just at that moment, another intelligence officer rushed in. Captain, something happened. Shanks couldn't help but frown and asked with a deep voice. What happened? One of our external regiments was heavily hit while attacking the outer territory of the Beast Pirates. Except for the surviving captain. Everyone else, all of them were destroyed, said the intelligence officer solemnly. What? Yusuf directly exclaimed. An entire external regiment was annihilated? How is this possible? Their expressions of disbelief were also evident. Although the real strength of the unaffiliated external group is not that strong, but in the New World, as long as they don't encounter a regiment under 4 emperors, it's basically possible to walk sideways on the sea and attack an outer island of the Beast Pirates. How was the entire army annihilated? Outer island refers to an island outside the territory of Wano that is supervised by the Beast Pirates. Shanks took a deep breath and asked the intelligence officer. What the news did the surviving captain bring? He said that Beast Pirates reinforcements suddenly came out of a gate. That gate leads directly from Onigashima to the outer island, and that gate is called Magic Gate. Chapter 56, Cooperation. 1. The eyes of the Red Hair Pirates' top executives were weak, showing a confident look. As they thought, it really is the new technology developed by the scientific disaster. Before others could ask about the magic door, the intelligence officer continued to report, but this door is not the most important thing. The most important thing is a small thing like a capsule. The Red Hair Pirates attacked the outer perimeter of the Beast Pirates' territory but suffered heavy damage. According to the surviving captain, some of the Tobi Rappo used a super technology called Magic Door to directly reach the outer islands from Onigashima. This support caught the outer group under Shanks by surprise, but in his opinion, the most terrifying thing was the so-called universal capsule. Capsule? Yusuf exclaimed in surprise. Shanks and Ben Beckman were also surprised. How do the capsules affect this fight? No matter how much everyone thought about it, they couldn't come up with a reason, and the informant member said solemnly, according to my observation, this capsule is only the size of a palm, but it can store 3 giant turrets, dozens of pieces of artillery, and several heavy firearms. Everyone was shocked when they heard this, and Yusuf's eyes widened with disbelief. Under the total coverage of this firepower, it is difficult for the foreign group to resist. Even escape. Yusuf exploded directly with foul language. Damn it. Is this a new technology? Most likely. Shanks' tone was solemn. It's really a terrible kind. Lucky Roo murmured, not stopping at all from biting the meat in his right hand. I think the current situation is extremely serious, and if it continues like this, I'm afraid no one can stop the Beast Pirates. I finally understand how the Beast Pirates dared to arrogantly block the world government tax team. With the magic door and the new technological capsule, they can completely suppress all forces, and with the help of the Senzu bins, they can win or escape without any loss. Ben Beckman, always calm, seemed very uneasy and said many things at once. The intelligence officer who reported the report continued, however, we still have good news. When the total war began, the captain of the outer regiment first sent people to transport the stolen beans. He should be here soon. Shanks nodded, let him come back and then give him a bin to take. Although it was said that the captain was defeated, but in the face of these super technologies, stealing something was a great achievement. The intelligence officer nodded and left. When he left, Ben Beckman pondered for a moment and then said, Shanks, I think we should change our strategy. We don't aim for the Beast Pirates' territory, we aim for their technology, fight guerrilla warfare, snatch if we can, and retreat if we can't. As long as we can get any kind of technology, it will be worth it. Ben Beckman said all his thoughts. According to his guess, the probability of this arbitrary door is limited. Otherwise, knowing Kaido, he would have made them a small and brief visit. Since Kaido did not do this, it is obvious that this magic door has limitations. Using this limitation, the Red Hair Pirates can fully fight guerrilla warfare and gradually seize any technology developed by the scientific disaster. The Red Hair Pirates have already set a goal regarding this matter. Toggle Land, Whole cake Katakuri once again broke in during Big Mom's afternoon tea time and directly reported the information he had received. In this afternoon tea, Big Mom was not focused on tasting the dessert, but was playing with the universal capsule in her hand. This thing is really amazing. If I didn't only have one, I would like to take it apart and see how it works. There was great curiosity in Big Mom's large eyes. Katakuri approached, and this time he did not arouse his mother's discontent. Katakuri said in a deep voice, "Mama, the beast pirates are moving again." Eh? The ever-present children were stirred up and surprised. After all, in their hearts, the research technology of the scientific disaster was no joke. New technology has been developed in 3 days, and none of them are insipid. All are high-quality products. No. This time it's not technology, but Kaido can't stay still again and goes out to make a ruckus after another. Everyone immediately lost interest in what Katakuri said. They believed that Jigen had developed something new. Kaido simply can't stay still, it's normal to go out and do crazy things. Big Mom waved her hand irritably. Katakuri-san, sit down and eat something together, this news is nothing new. Katakuri looked coldly at his brothers and sisters and instantly silenced them, and when everything was quiet, he said solemnly, "This time, Kaido is looking for trouble with the world government and stole the celestial gold. One of the celestial dragons accompanying them died." Katakuri dropped the bomb. Silence. More silence. A lot more silence. There was an uproar in the audience. After hearing the news, everyone present at the afternoon tea was stunned. They were all stunned. Did I hear correctly? Did Kaido dare to kill a world noble? Is this a declaration of war against the world government? All of Big Mom's children couldn't help but sweat, thinking about it and thinking that Kaido is really arrogant and crazy. Although they, as 4 emperors of the New World, did not take the celestial dragons seriously, that and killing them were 2 completely different concepts. Once a celestial dragon died, the world government and the marines could fully mobilize towards Wano. This guy. Did he forget the shame they brought us in God Valley? Murmured Big Mom quietly. Subsequently, Katakuri reiterated the detailed information about this incident that Big Mom's pirates had collected, which directly aroused the envy of many for this great achievement. Big Mom's eyes were red with anger. Humphrey. All thanks to that door, what is there to be proud of? Not to mention how useful that random door is, it's a pity that that bastard Kaido didn't give it to me. The other children were also aware of the strategic importance of the magic door. They can directly hit the enemy by surprise, and if deployed properly, they can block all escape routes of the enemy and then cooperate with the universal capsule, which can carry powerful firepower to trap turtles in an urn. If no one died in that interception, it would not be reasonable, even a mockery towards the Animal Kingdom pirates. Chapter 57, Cooperation, 2. Big Mom couldn't contain herself at this moment and said loudly, "Let's all go to Wano and grab that bastard Kaido's magic door." When Katakuri saw his mother suddenly become furious, he was speechless for a while, as this was not at all realistic. Are you going to snatch the magic door from the beast pirates now? How are you going to do it? Although they received a small batch from Kaido, they didn't have enough to support this sudden idea of their mothers. In addition, Kaido can reach Cake Island through the magic door. If there is a conflict with the beast pirates at this time, Kaido can even deploy troops to Whole Cake and make a massacre. Of course, what Katakuri didn't know was that his mother was just joking and had no intention of actually doing this. Katakuri persuaded and proposed to his mother. It's not a good time to have a conflict with the beast pirates, but we can take the opportunity to cooperate with them. Kaido killed the Tenri Ubito, which must have angered the world government. Along with the Whitebeard pirates and Red Hair pirates, we can take advantage of the situation. Recently, it was reported that the external group of the Red Hair pirates began targeting the outer islands of the beast pirates. In this case, although the beast pirates have super technology, their fists are no match for 2 powers against them. We can find Kaido to cooperate. While Kaido relaxes his vigilance, we can take the opportunity to get a magic door and many other inventions from that guy. When Big Mom heard Katakuri's words, she suppressed her inner unease and began to think. She is a very strange woman. Sometimes she is crazy, sometimes calm, sometimes reckless, sometimes very wise, sometimes she sees her children as bastards, and most of the time she doesn't listen at all. After a while, she couldn't help but smile. "Alright, Katakuri, just do as you say and ask Kaido for cooperation in my name." Big Mom was very vague about discussing these proposals and negotiations with Kaido. She thought about it. Although Kaido was cruel and unreasonable, when the situation was a bit complicated, his brain told him to make the right decision. "Ha ha ha, Mama, forget it Katakuri, I'll contact him myself." Big Mom couldn't help but laugh with enthusiasm, and then took the giant Den mushi from the side and directly communicated with Kaido. When Kaido answered the phone, Big Mom said directly without beating around the bush. Kaido, I heard you were so brave that you killed a celestial dragon. Kaido's disdainful voice sounded on the other side. It's just a bunch of trash with someone's backing. The world government won't enter into direct war just for the death of such trash. Although Kaido was dumb, he had his feet on the ground. It was not for nothing that he let the wife and daughter of the world noble live. He knew that if he killed the entire family, that is, all three of them, the world government could deploy several of those troublesome types they had hidden away in Mary Ejos. Hee hee. Big Mom sneered. Kaido, aren't you afraid of being the next Rocks? There's no more Roger in this world, what do I have to fear? Now that there's a new disaster in the Beast Pirates, I will start to realize my dream and build a new era. Wurro. Big Mom shook her head. The purpose this time was to cooperate with him, so she began to talk about the threat from the world government, the Whitebeard pirates, and then mentioned that the Red Hair pirates had also started attacking the Beast Pirates. Finally, she made a request for cooperation to Kaido. On the other hand, when Kaido heard Big Mom talking so much, without any hesitation, Kaido flatly refused. Linlin, there's no need for cooperation. Now our Beast Pirates have a potential talent. With the super technology developed, in other words, the room of time, my perspective of this world has completely collapsed. So I've become much more arrogant. I feel that our Beast Pirates are the strongest in this era. This made Big Mom directly say. Kaido, you're getting ahead of yourself now. Big Mom continued to persuade. Originally, Kaido wanted to hang up the snail directly, but King said. Kaido-san, actually, I think the proposal is somewhat good for us. The things invented by Brother Jigen have indeed made us a power at the level of the world government, but now we're a bit tired of the multifaceted selection. Physical exhaustion can be relieved with senzu bins, but mentally we can't relieve it so easily. The Whitebeard pirates, the Red Hair pirates have been attacking our outer territories a lot recently, and now, with Marine and CP, even some small forces suddenly bite us, which really tires us out mentally. With the cooperation of the Big Mom pirates, at least we can relieve a bit of pressure. Furthermore, Whitebeard and others have stolen a lot of our senzu bins, and now it's a bit difficult to fight them. We can use the Big Mom pirates to make a transition. Kaido listened to King's words, forgot his arrogance and pondered for a moment and then said in a deep voice. You're right, you can't survive alone in this turbulent sea. Rock's pirate was an example back then. After thinking about it, Kaido told his old friend. Linlin, okay, let's cooperate, like the old days. Glow. He said and took a swig of sake. I can also provide you with a limited amount of all-purpose capsules and senzu beans. Of course, you have to spend money to buy them. I'll give you discounts as appropriate. On the opposite side, Big Mom, Kitakuri, Prospero and others who were present were filled with joy when they heard the words. Big Mom quickly asked. What about the magic door? How much does it cost? She's very concerned about this artifact that can go anywhere. With this door, her crew can also have the ability to attack other forces anytime, anywhere. On the opposite side, Kaido also understood the importance of the magic door, and said solemnly. Don't think about it, Linlin, for now, the magic door is absolutely unacceptable. Kaido's tone was decisive. Big Mom wasn't happy when she heard this and wanted to retort, but Katakuri stopped her and shook his head. Now that the two parties have initially agreed, they must proceed step by step. If this bothers Kaido and he changes his mind and doesn't want to cooperate, it will be a disaster. Moreover, according to Kaido's words, it was only for the time being, nobody knows what will happen in the future. They can keep going slowly. Big Mom had no choice but to reluctantly accept and the deal was closed. When the Den Mushi hung up, Big Mom couldn't help but laugh with her numerous family members. Although Kaido doesn't want to give up a single magic door, it's not urgent. The benefits we can get now are quite good. Big Mom felt that her pirate group could soon increase rapidly in power and prestige. With Kaido, a channel where she can buy super technology, what else does she have to worry about? The remnants of Whitebeard and Roger's subordinates are not enough to make her afraid. Chapter 58, Boa Hancock eats the senzu bin Amazon lily. In the main hall, Gloriosa entered with a cane. At first, Hancock didn't pay much attention to her because her thoughts were wandering. The informants she had sent had been there for many days, and so far, there was no news about the whereabouts of the senzu bean. Gloriosa was very dissatisfied with the fact that Hancock was ignoring her, but she still spoke. I didn't originally want to give you the magic bins you're thinking of, but it seems like I don't need to. When Hancock heard that her ancestor had brought fairy beans, she immediately snapped out of her thoughts, and her beautiful eyes suddenly lit up. She quickly said, Old woman, did you really bring magic bins? Hancock's attitude had undergone a 180-degree change. This made Gloriosa sigh. What a troublesome woman. However, she was very good to the Empress, so she didn't continue and directly extended her palm, and 3 green bins appeared. Hancock and her 2 younger sisters approached one after another, looking at the famous bins in the old woman's hands. All of them were surprised. Is this the senzu bin? Why does it look like a simple ordinary bin? Hancock's 2 sisters pouted a bit. Hancock also suspected. Old woman, are you not lying to us? Is this the type of invention that pirates have been so famous for recently? Gloriosa nodded. I didn't believe it too much at first, but someone experimented with it, so I bought it. Wow! The 3 sisters exclaimed. Hancock was a little curious. Old woman, how did you get it? She must know that there have been no news from the people she sent out in recent days. Gloriosa waved her hand and said. It's not a problem. I bought this on the black market. As for the information, I got it from Shaggy. Since the production cost is not too high, it is said that the most popular technology in the Beast's Pirates is this, so Kaido distributed a lot to his members. More people understand it, and naturally, it will inevitably flow. Some Beast Pirates really feel that it is too much to use, so to make money, they simply sell it. It is sold for about 50 million Bailey on the black market, and the value is amazing. Hancock took the bins from Gloriosa's hand and ate them without hesitation. Originally, her 2 younger sisters wanted to try it first. However, as the older sister, Hancock was the first to take it no matter how much they persuaded her. Although she was very ruthless during the week, she was actually very kind to her 2 younger sisters. After Hancock ate it, the bin quickly turned into a green light and entered her body, illuminating it. The 2 sisters exclaimed directly. How is this possible? Sister, are you okay? When Gloriosa saw this, she laughed. That's right. When the experimenter was on the black market before, this green light also appeared in the body, which means there is no problem. When Hancock heard this, she immediately unbuttoned her clothes, and the clothes slid over her clear skin, revealing her snow-white shoulders, and on her well-defined back, the shame marked by celestial dragons began to rapidly fade away, and only a few seconds later, the slave logo disappeared. It's gone, it really disappeared. The 2 sisters were full of joy and shouted excitedly. Hancock went straight to a mirror and looked at the mark on her back. She saw that her back was white and smooth like snow, which once made her feel inferior. The culprit that projected a shadow of terror inside her has disappeared. At this moment, many emotions sprouted from Hancock's heart, relieved, liberated. The dark cloud that had enveloped her head for so many years finally dissipated. It's really good. A drop of water appeared at the corner of Hancock's beautiful eyes. Her 2 younger sisters were also eager to take the bins for themselves. Seeing the celestial dragon slave mark behind them also disappear, the 2 younger sisters cried tears of joy. Seeing all of this, Hancock couldn't help but show a touching smile. The knot in my heart has finally been untied. The 3 sisters rejoiced, and at this moment they were like 3 little girls. This bin is amazing. It really is gone. This is the invention of a scientific disaster. It's too powerful. I really want to see that pirate. In the Amazon Lily Palace, laughter echoed. A feast was held, one that would last for at least a few days. Grand Line. A dark island full of jungles. In the middle of the ancient castle building, Mihawk was sitting on the throne, staring at the envelope in his hand. As soon as he opened it, a green bin fell out. And the signature on the paper, Shanks. Mihawk muttered something, then picked up the bin that had just fallen, looked at it for a moment, and said to himself. So this is the famous bean. Mihawk received a letter from Shanks, in which he received a senzu bean. In the letter, Shanks wanted to invite him to deal with the Beast Pirates, and the main goal was to snatch the technology from the Beast Pirates. Mihawk looked at the bin in his hand, and his deep eyes showed no trace of emotion. He had heard of the power of this thing, but he simply didn't believe it was as powerful as rumored. It may also be because he is obsessed with swordsmanship, so he is not interested in other things. Mihawk set aside the senzu bin and began to think about his old friend's invitation this time. Should he accept the invitation? Chapter 59, Trying to revive the Tenri Ubitos. Suddenly, there was a roaring sound in the periphery of the island, followed by chaotic sounds. Obviously, this is a battle. Mihawk simply turned his head slightly and looked, and soon ignored it. This small island is located in Grand Line. Although it is said to be hidden enough, pirates occasionally pass by. Once these pirates arrive on the island, they will encounter baboons on the island. These baboons are very powerful in combat, and common pirates are not their opponents at all. However, just as he was thinking, there was a sound of whispering footsteps outside, and he quickly heard that they were noisy footsteps, which made Mihawk raise his head in surprise and look towards the door. He saw a group of baboons running towards the gate of this ancient castle. After arriving at the gate, they stopped immediately. Although they seemed nervous, there was fear in their eyes. Immediately afterwards, only the baboon that had always looked more dominant rushed towards him with a dying baboon. This baboon did not dare to make any sound, even if it was in a hurry, it would do so lightly. Finally, he carefully placed the baboon in his arms in front of Mihawk, and then looked at him with his eyes. There was a plea in his eyes. Mihawk looked at the baboon lying on the ground and saw that it was already dying. Half of its body had been blown away by projectiles, mixed with mud, and looked very frightening. This was a fatal injury. This time, although the baboon emerged victorious, it lost several companions, and this was the only one left alive, so the baboon leader brought it here and asked for Mihawk's help. Mihawk's face was as expressionless as ever, showing no expression in the face of such a scene, and soon looked away and stopped paying attention to these baboons. He is a swordsman, not a doctor. In the face of such a serious injury, there is nothing he can do. Seeing that Mihawk no longer paid attention to them, the baboon leader immediately lowered his head, and the baboons that did not enter through the gate were also very frustrated, understanding that Mihawk obviously would not care. As long as the baboon leader continued tiptoeing to pick up his companion, he planned to leave. At this moment, Mihawk suddenly saw the bin he had just put aside. He thought of the magical effect of the rumored magic bin. Although he said he didn't believe it, he could try it with the baboon in front of him. Mihawk decisively stopped the baboon leader, ignoring the baboon leader's doubts, and directly put the bin into the mouth of the dying baboon. Immediately, the baboon's body was enveloped in a green light, and the fatal wound of the baboon was rapidly healing under the surprised expressions of the baboon leader and the baboons outside the castle gate. In a short time, the baboon was alive and kicking in front of a crowd of baboons and Mihawk. The baboon king was surprised to see this scene, and then shouted excitedly, forgetting that he couldn't make too much noise in Mihawk's castle, which would disturb the great swordsman, and the baboons outside the gate were also excited, shouting French. And the whole group cheered. The baboons' eyes looked at Mihawk as if they had seen God. These baboons are very intelligent. They know that although such a wound can be healed, it will leave sequelae, but now it is completely healed, just like before. Mihawk's expression was also slightly stunned, but in just a few seconds, he regained his severity. However, his heart was not as calm as his appearance, and he was secretly surprised. He did not expect that the rumored effect was true, and this recovery was too fast, right? This magic bin is an instant cure. Mihawk took a deep breath slowly, and he had already made a decision in his heart. Mihawk, 7 warlords of the seas, intends to accept Shank's invitation to go to the New World. Under the circumstance that the main forces of the beast pirates themselves flowed, the Senzu bin began to be obtained by the major forces. Gecko Moria, Crocodile, Bartholomew Kuma, the Revolutionary Army cadre who was undercover as a 7 warlords of the seas. This also gave the Revolutionary Army a new understanding of the scientific disaster. In order to obtain more Senzubins and other rumored superweapons, these powerful individuals with their own ambitions have focused their attention on the second half of the New World. And just as the world began to stir, the corpse of the celestial dragon was finally transported to Holy Land Mary Ejos. Sengoku, the 3 admirals, and a group of top executives of the Navy were all present, and even Vegapunk, a scientist, arrived on the scene and wanted to personally experiment with the magic of the spine. This is a rare scene where many people gather among the powers. The Holy Land is not for anyone who wants to enter. In the midst of the crowd was the corpse of the Tenri Ubito. His wife and daughter, who had already awakened from unconsciousness, were also present, torn in tears. Not so much because of the death of her husband and father, but because their status among the world nobles in Holy Land would degrade due to her husband's death as the head of the family. Yes, that's how insensitive these trash people were. On the dead man's side, he was in a horror state when they lifted the blanket that covered his corpse. He was hit by Kaido's strongest attack, all his internal organs were crushed, and all his bones were broken. The 5 elders looked at this with a somber expression on their faces. The blonde elder quickly said, "Quick, give him the magic bin." Sengoku didn't say nonsense and took out a small bag with several Senzubins inside. On his way to Holy Land, he came across several vice-admirals who had intercepted several cadres of the beast pirates in the New World, where they had fortunately managed to snatch several beans. However, to the surprise of Sengoku and other marines present, this magic bin did not turn into a green light when it entered his mouth. This scene confused Sengoku a bit, and everyone who witnessed this miracle. How is this possible? The 5 elders looked at Sengoku with a deep expression. This is very strange, it wasn't like this before. Kizaru muttered strangely with a twisted mouth. Yes, logically speaking, this should not happen. Could it be that this bin has expired? Sengoku was embarrassed and made a ridiculous assumption. Has the bin expired? Sengoku, now is not the time to be joking, said the bald elder. Clearly, the 5 elders were not satisfied with this answer. Sengoku was also very helpless and now has no idea what's going on. Vegapunk was a bit lost. In fact, he really didn't care whether celestial dragons lived or died. It had nothing to do with him. The main thing was that he couldn't see the miraculous effect that was being talked about. At that moment, he opened his mouth and proposed. We can do this, let someone experiment with this bin first, to see if there is a problem. After everyone heard the words, they all agreed to this choice. After all, this is the only way to do it now. It is necessary to first determine if this magic bin has any effect. Then a new question arises, who should try this fairy bin? At that moment, Vegapunk volunteered and asked to try this fairy bin. For him, a scientist, the thinking is completely different from that of others. Everyone was naturally happy that someone stood up and tried it, and very quickly, Vegapunk took a bin from Sengoku and swallowed it without the slightest hesitation. In the next second, the bin turned into a green light and entered his body, and Vegapunk's body was immediately enveloped by the green light. At this moment, Vegapunk only felt that his whole person was different. The scarce hair grew wildly, and the appearance that looked extremely old was filled with energy. Vegapunk used to look sickly and scrawny, but now he has completely changed, renewed and rejuvenated. He couldn't help but open his eyes in shock. This is the work of that pirate, even I think it's incredible. He has achieved something that I cannot achieve in my entire life, no. Even if I give myself 10 lives, it is difficult for me to match this guy's achievements. Vegapunk thought of what the Navy executives said about the beast pirates, and about the magic door, in addition to that capsule-like storage technology. Vegapunk is ashamed of himself at this moment. Others around him also looked at him with excitement. They did not expect that it also has the effect of strengthening the body, beautifying the face, and couldn't help but admire Jigen in their hearts. But the 5 elders were the only ones who looked ugly at this moment of joy. What the hell is going on? Why doesn't it work with the Tenryubito? And it works with Vegapunk? Chapter 60, The Room of Time, 1. After Vegapunk took a magic bean, his face instantly lit up, but it had no effect on the Tenryubito, leaving everyone present perplexed. At this moment, in the crowd, Tsuru touched her chin and slowly voiced her guess. It's very likely that he had been dead for too long and all vitality has been completely cut off, so the magic bin has no effect. Tsuru also mentioned the previous example, when it heals a wound, even if it's a horrifying fatal wound, as long as the person is not dead, it will heal instantly. And when Sengoku was resurrected, there was a long wait, which shows that the beans are also flawed, and once a certain time is surpassed, they can no longer be resurrected. This time, everyone's faces suddenly turned ugly, which meant that the Tenryubito couldn't be resurrected. Kizaru also looked grim. He could have prevented the deaths of those guys back then, but inconsistently evaded that terrifying attack by Kaido. The 5 elders are also furious due to the turn of events. Idiot. The blonde elder gritted his teeth, originally still having hope, but now he lost it completely. Kaido is truly audacious. He angrily said. Sengoku, all of you Marines, obey the order and give yourselves 3 days to prepare for battle. We'll lend you a hand too. After 3 days, go to Wano country and attack the beast pirates. That's right. If we let this matter slide, that guy Kaido may think he can really trample on us and do it again. We'll show him why we've stood firm for 800 years. The other elders also agreed. Now, punishing Sengoku and the other Marines for this is pointless. Kaido brazenly killed a world noble, so go straight for Kaido to avenge him. After Sengoku heard the words, his heart tightened, and he quickly said. 5 elders, calm your anger, don't rush. The current beast pirates are not the beast pirates they used to be, their super technology is too exaggerated, and this battle will be bloodier than you imagine. Kaido is extremely difficult to kill. With the addition of the arbitrary door and senzu bins, it becomes even harder. And if we add that strange capsule, we will definitely have many casualties if we go after him. It can be said that the current beast pirates cannot be killed at all. Step back, if the Marines truly destroy the beast pirates at a huge cost, it will give other forces a chance to take advantage, like the Whitebeard pirates, the Big Mom pirates, etc. Tsuru, the Marines' chief of staff, also agreed with Sengoku's statement, and solemnly said. Is it a good opportunity to face the beast pirates? You have said it before. I think we should continue to adopt your previous strategy and focus on the beast pirates' technology. Recently, the beast pirates have grown to the extreme, and their territory has expanded enormously, leading to constant friction between Whitebeard and Red Hair. We, the Marines, can wait and reap the benefits. After some persuasion from everyone, the 5 elders calmed down. Naturally, they knew that the beast pirates were very dangerous now. In the end, the 5 elders reluctantly reached an agreement. It must be said that they at least have some respect for Sengoku, as just a moment ago they were unwilling to listen to any excuses. So far, the incident has come to an end. Marine and the discussion object at the mouth of the world government are currently educating their own child. Yamato, it's time to stop thinking. Kaido had a mace in his hand and swung it towards Yamato. Yamato wanted to counterattack, but she wasn't as strong now. After exchanging a Raimai Hakkai with her father, she flew out and fell to the ground. Seeing this, Kaido sneered and said, Yamato, now that we have so much attention and so many enemies around the world, it's time for you to choose which side you belong to. It's time for you to play for the Beast's pirates. However, Yamato directly bit Kaido, and her eyes were determined. The fate of the times will not be broken, and I will become Odin. I will get rid of this shackle and go to the sea for adventure. Seeing that Yamato was still unrepentant, Kaido's face suddenly turned gloomy. He gritted his teeth, snorted through his nose, and his tone burned with anger. Very well, I see that you still have that ridiculous idea in your head. I will let you experience death and see if you can change your mind. Saying that, Kaido burst into flames, and the black lightning of the mace in his hand exploded, constantly intertwining as if he had exerted all his strength. Kozen's Ragunaraku. Kaido's mace directly hit Yamato's head, causing Yamato's pupils to shrink. She didn't expect him to use such a fierce attack. With a single blow, blood gushed out of Yamato's mouth, and a large hole opened on the top of her head. The blood also flowed. At this moment, her consciousness became blurred, as if the whole person fell into an endless abyss. Kaido looked at her indifferently and immediately struck Yamato with another blow, until he completely ended her life. Looking at Yamato's corpse, Kaido coldly snorted. If you can change your mind, there will be a successor to the Beast's pirates. Kaido muttered to himself and finally reluctantly took out a Senzubin and gave it to Yamato. After Yamato was enveloped in green light, all her wounds healed, and she came back to life. She sat up abruptly, gasping for breath, and immediately after seeing Kaido in front of her, she couldn't help but be greatly surprised. Am I dead? Yamato understood it very well. How could she resurrect after dying? Kaido laughed loudly. You have to thank Jigen for inventing such a miracle. Yamato instantly knew that this was the credit of the magic bin developed by Jigen, which brought her back to life. This made Yamato's understanding of Jigen deeper. Not only did he know the news of the outside world and tell her many interesting things, but he also knew astronomy and geography to satisfy her curiosity. His scientific research is also astonishing. Unparalleled in the sea. Yamato felt that if she hadn't witnessed Odin's execution back then and then obtained Odin's diary, she would definitely worship Jigen now. Unfortunately, her belief in Odin and the prophecy was deeply rooted in her heart. On the opposite side, Kaido looked at Yamato and said proudly, You are my child, my blood runs through your veins, so I have the obligation to remove that foolish idea from your head. Yamato was speechless. If you change your mind, I can let you go now, as long as you say you won't worship Odin anymore. Impossible. Yamato was stubborn about this matter. Not even experiencing death made her doubt for a second.